You are listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
Top of the morning to you. How the heck are you, Miller and Moulton, on a Monday? Hope you had a great weekend. Thanks for starting your week off with us. Miller and Moulton, the Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. Top of the morning to you, Mark. How are you?
Good morning, David. Realization hit me this morning as I was getting ready. We've got 5-day work weeks for a while.
You were harping on this late last week. You do know most work weeks are 5 days.
I know, but I love the 4-day work week. It's such a glorious week, start to finish.
Yes,
and what happens after the 4-day week are a lot of 5-day weeks. You know, the norm comes back.
That's usually how it goes. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Hooray!
It'll be okay. I think the reason that you're a little more downtrodden than normal from someone who realizes, oh, we're back to the grind, is because you and I don't have a lot of vacation time this year. In getting this third act off the ground, you know, there was a certain give and take. And, you know, in certain ways, it's been really good for us. I mean, in
most
fact,
ways, we're employed.
Right. That we have a third act.
Right.
During that, you know, before the third act, we had been let go from our second act. So, yes.
We're consistent.
Yes, we are. All right. I mean, even though it's not our fault and it was a mistake, but hey, it's part of our charm. It seems to happen to us more than most. So here we are, third act, but we don't have a lot of vacation time. And by a lot of vacation time, I mean any.
There you have it.
And the funny thing is we have vacation time compared to Felipe. Okay, because for long story short is on the holidays like July 4th, Memorial Day, what have you, Felipe actually has to come in and run our best of show. So he has to listen to content he's already kind of sort of listened to once before, because let's face it, he doesn't pay full attention for 4 hours. I mean, you know, he's not there yet.
No, but he doesn't pay attention for the best ofs either.
Right. Well, I mean,
there's that.
He hits the brakes.
Right. I think I've noticed, though, he loves the alarm. My guess is he sets the alarm in here for each segment to wake himself up.
Do you sleep on the floor during the best ofs?
Thank God there's not a couch here. That's all I'm saying.
Well,
I have to. This chair's uncomfortable. It's not mine.
Right.
But it's good that it's uncomfortable because it keeps me awake.
Right. So that's, you know, that's kind of the dynamic going on here. But hope everybody had a good weekend. I know you had a good weekend. I mean, your son was in town for over a week, and so that was good. Does he realize now he's off the payroll?
This was it. This was the last trip. But he realized it because he asked me. Because we had talked about doing some things, and I just said flat out, we were talking about maybe going fishing and chartering a boat. And I said, Jake, I'm a little tight. I said, if you want to charter a boat, we're going to have to split it. And he went, oh, damn, Dad, I thought this was like the last one.
June 30th, son. June 30th. All right. Those in the academic world, you know, certain businesses, the year goes July 1st to June 30th. And, you know, son, you know, for the longest time when you were growing up, it went January 1 to December 31st. But I don't know what to tell you. I'm pulling a school year on you, son. It ended June 30th.
He's in for a big realization when the 30th of this month comes and that rent payment that had been coming through for 5 years is going to not hit.
Especially since August 1st is a Monday, too. I mean, it's really going to hit. You should call him up like Friday night or Saturday at the very end of this month and go, so how you doing? Everything okay?
I'm going to FaceTime him, and I'm going to be singing Happy Days Are Here Again.
Dad, why are you so happy? Because you're not getting paid.
I went out and spent all your money tonight.
So he realizes it.
Yes.
I mean, it hasn't taken.
But it hasn't sunk in yet.
It's an intellectual thing. It's not a fully emotional thing yet. Wait till it becomes reality. Felipe, has that happened to you, by the way?
Oh, cutting off.
Are you off the payroll?
I'm starting to get cut off in little ways. It's getting chopped down slowly and slowly.
All right. Now, you got to admit, though, I mean, you only graduated college a couple months ago, and you were given a vehicle as a graduation present. I mean, so, family up until, about 6-8 weeks ago, family's rocking and rolling.
Now it's like,
okay, what are some of the little ways?
I have to pay for my car insurance.
Mm-hmm.
Like any purchase I make for the house, food, obviously groceries, all that stuff.
Right. Yep.
And
right, because you're off the meal plan.
Oh yeah.
Right. Mm-hmm.
And
you don't have free access to the gym anymore, so for you to go pay, you have to pay for a gym, right? For you to hoop. And
I paid for the FGCU gym because they don't like. All right, you're done. Okay, bye.
Yeah, exactly.
That's it.
We got
out of here.
Got our money from you. You're of no use to us anymore.
Now just send it.
Right.
Now you're supposed to send money without getting anything for it.
Right. We're going to hit you up every 3 to 6 months. So it's starting to take hold. Little things. Right. Did you get money sent to you like every month, just as kind of like one of your relatives said, here's $50, here's $100. Hope you're doing well, that sort of deal.
Yeah, buy toilet paper, buy groceries,
right?
All that stuff.
Yeah, that's stopped, right?
Oh yeah, that's done.
Yeah, baby. Yeah, we have just one child, and I rejoiced, and like in her face rejoiced.
In her face
in
rejoiced.
Her face rejoiced. Right. So she got me back. All right. She had a grandchild at 25. All right.
I think she won.
Right. Especially since, she won the hearts and minds of the boss of the household. So, yeah. Mm-hmm. A grandchild's a mic drop, don't you think?
Pretty much.
In terms of, who's going to get what. Right.
Well, and I know your wife, I wasn't sure if your wife was going to embrace the grandmother role.
She didn't until the child was born and then changed on a dime.
Full on.
Yep.
Because she's younger. For a grandma, she's
right.
In our heads, what we think of as a grandma, your wife is far younger than that and looks younger than that.
Right.
So I knew when you told me that would hit her. It would be difficult for her to grasp that, but she has embraced it wholeheartely.
Right. I mean, my wife, much like your wife, looks like somebody that Zach Wilson might want to date.
Oh, starting a little early, Ed. Wow, it's got me with the coffee there. That one almost came back out.
This is a sports show. That's right.
So, but yeah, we were somewhere between the sidelines and, maybe we'll participate in the kickoff in terms of our, excitement level, because yes, it was an adjustment, and then called me up right away. And basically all I could hear, she started talking and all I could hear was ka-ching, 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 ka-ching. Right. Yeah, it was over. So hope everybody had a good weekend. Thanks for starting your week off with us, Miller and Moulton, here on the Florida Sports Network. Did you watch a little Wimbledon yesterday morning at all?
I did not watch it. It was as you mentioned. We mentioned earlier, my son was here. He and I went and played some golf because he had to fly out yesterday.
Good.
We got up early and we did things yesterday, so I did not see a whole lot of it. Tremendous match at the end of the day.
Yeah, it was a good match. I mean, it's funny. A lot of people thought that Kyrgios was going to win. I don't know why they were thinking that. Djokovic is one of the greatest players of all time. He had won this thing 6 times before. He hadn't lost over there in 5 years. He hadn't lost on that court in like 10. I mean, I think the last time he lost on that court, was to Murray in the 2013 final. But people were convinced that Kyrgios was going to win.
Because he'd beaten him twice.
There was a stat read by Chris Fowler saying that Djokovic has the most wins in Wimbledon history after losing the first set.
Well, and he did it again. Lost the first set and then took care of business from there. Fourth set was extremely well played. high caliber, both guys digging deep, knowing full well, I get my serve broken, this sucker's over. But Djokovic dominated the tiebreak, won the match. That's number 7, by the way. That's second all time to Fed's 8. That's 21, second all time to Nadal's 22. And Djokovic said, yeah, I think I'm done for the year.
See you at the French, I guess, right?
Yeah. I mean, that's the other thing. He's, as of right now, he's like, well, I'm not going to get a vaccine, so it looks as if I can't play the U.S. Open nor the Australian next year.
Good for him. Just take a vacay.
Well, I don't know about that. He's 35 years old, and if you're only going to play 2 majors a year, and one of them's the French, which, let's face it, until that other guy retires, he's the favorite. So, and clearly that's what Djokovic and Nadal are playing for right now, who's going to end up first all time. And in theory, then who's regarded as the greatest ever? I mean,
yes.
I mean, if you end up
and here's Djokovic just refusing. And look at whatever he wants to do. And I'm not making this about the vaccine, but think about it. The position he's in right now would seem pretty simple. Get a shot. I can play in 2 more events and I can pass Nadal.
Right.
And he is staying headstrong in that he is not getting the vaccine. That's a hell of a decision to make. And I'm not doing this to get into whether you should or shouldn't. I don't give a damn. I'm just trying to think of it from his perspective, that you're not doing that when maybe sacrificing being regarded as the greatest tennis player to have ever played the game. Wow. That's heady stuff, David.
And it sent John McEnroe off on a damn near tirade about what in the world, why is it that Djokovic can't enter the country?
I mean, this is ridiculous.
To play in the U.S. Open. And McEnroe's not just an American, he's a New Yorker, too. He has a vested interest in the U.S. Open. It's the tournament that's, I think, most near and dear to him. And, and not only that, all right, McEnroe's, and, for those who are going to make politics out of this, McEnroe's an ardent Democrat. I mean, McEnroe's a liberal. So if you want to bring politics into it, there's that component of the tirade. And then make of it what you will. But number 7, number 21. And I believe and I hate the fact they include Andy Murray in the big 4, because
he's not one of them.
I mean, because the other 3 have won 63 majors. Come on, you've won 4. But anyway, I don't think someone outside of the big 4 has won this tournament in nearly 20 years.
Golfers, are you bored of the same old driving range warm-up routine that's not getting you the results that you want on the course? Power up your golf swing by adding resistance bands to your range sessions with the Orange Whip Golf's Power Strap Kit. Featuring band attachments to your feet and hips, Power Strap resistance training will boost clubhead speed, increase power, improve flexibility, all with just a few swings. Buy a Power Strap Kit today. Go to orangewhipgolf.com and use code Miller10 to receive an additional 10% off the already great price of $119.
David Moulton for Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa Filters for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa Filters. Napa has a filter for almost anything on earth that moves, whether it's motorcycles, foreign and domestic cars, vans, SUVs, earth-moving equipment. You get the idea. Napa Auto Parts, Napa Filters. Insist on them for your vehicles, or if you're do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa Filters.
Bring your big mouth to John Smith Subs and indulge in their overstuffed subs with the freshest quality ingredients. Enjoy our famous steak bomb with perfectly grilled marinated sirloin steak topped with provolone cheese, grilled onions, peppers, mushrooms, crispy bacon, juicy tomatoes, and creamy mayo. Boom! Made-to-order crispy fries can be paired with the Gator, the Cuban, the Chicken Bomb, or the Italian. Love local. Eat delicious with John Smith Subs. Find a John Smith Subs location near you today.
Mark Miller for SWFL Golf Carts, or online, flgolfcarts.com. If you're looking for a golf cart, an e-bike, or an e-motorcycle, go visit Alex and the gang at SWFL Golf Carts. flgolfcarts.com online. Check out their whole inventory. If you're looking for a custom cart, they can take care of you. 2-seater, 4-seater, 6-seater, they've got you covered. E-bikes, nobody better for value and service. E-motorcycles, check them out. Again, flgolfcarts.com. flgolfcarts.com.
You
You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
17 years.
For the Arrows.
See that NASCAR?
No.
So,
No, after we took Jake to the airport, we went to Sarasota to this Van Gogh experience. I was artsy yesterday.
I'm very sorry to hear that.
Yeah, you and me both.
So they're in Atlanta, and obviously Chase Elliott is the guy that half the crowd wants to win. He ends up winning. So it's Truex, Chase Elliott, LaJoy, who this is like an underdog team.
Mm-hmm.
This would be an amazing story, and it's Chastain and it's Hamlin. Those are the top five. Hamlin's fourth and Chastain's fifth. They're coming out of a turn, and Chastain's tight, and he starts riding up a little bit, and he clips Denny Hamlin with 12 laps to go and wrecks him. Well, he spun him. He didn't fully wreck him, but he spun him out and moved him from fourth to 21st. Now, these two have a history.
Right.
Chastain fucked him earlier this year. Right. So they start playing the in-car audio from Hamlin to his pit crew, and even Dale Jr. and the announcers are like, listen, we love Ross, but you can't do that. That's and you could see where it could have been inadvertent. Like he thought he wasn't going to clip him. He didn't just ride up into him. He was tight and he was slowly, but as Dale Jr. said, he goes, you got to take your foot off the gas there. You have to make sure that you don't hit him. And he goes, and I know if you ease up, you run the risk of somebody behind you passing you. He goes, but you can't do that. Especially with 12 laps to go. He goes, can't do it. Okay. So Chastain ends up second. There were a couple of wrecks in the final 12 laps. There was a restart with 2 laps to go. And LaJoy was in the lead at the restart. Chase Elliott passed him high. LaJoy tried to return the favor, and Elliott blocked him. No contact, but blocked him. And Chastain went low, and there was a wreck, and so the race got stopped with like half a lap to go. But yeah, the announcers were like, listen, he's a great driver. He can win the title, but he's gotta fix this. He's got to get better. And even Casio, out of the blue, I hadn't heard from John in a few days. He texts me. He goes, I love Ross, but if I was Denny Hamlin, I'd fucking put him into the wall. I go, yeah, me too.
Well, it's probably going to happen then.
Oh, and the problem for Ross
early.
is it could have. Denny could wait until it's a really important race and wreck him. So that's the problem for Ross. Ross is a legitimate Cup title contender, and Denny could wait to the playoffs and wreck him. And I'll bet he does.
Really?
Yeah. And it's funny, for as good a job as NBC did, I thought, in and around the wrecking and the in-car audio and what the commentator said and what have you, post-race, they did nothing. They didn't show us whether or not Hamlin went looking for Chastain. I stayed with post-race 20 minutes. They didn't interview Chastain.
What time was the race yesterday?
I think at 3. It was on USA. Yeah. I think the celebrity golf. Either that or they aired the Scottish Open on tape
10
delay.
seconds.
But the race was on
Thanks for listening. And now, more of Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
"21 past the hour. Miller and Moulton, Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. Thanks so much for being with us. We talked 4 minutes of Wimbledon off the top of the show. Just want to talk 10 more seconds. Thought it was ironic in the year that the Russians and the Belarus players were banned from Wimbledon by Wimbledon because of Putin's war. Belarus, probably the number one ally of Russia in this war against Ukraine. They've allowed Russian forces to go through their country and to attack Ukraine. And so that's why Wimbledon also punished players from Belarus. I mean, you have to appreciate the irony of the woman who won being born in Russia, don't you?
Absolutely.
Now, she represents
Kazakhstan.
And has for 4 or 5 years, but I mean,
but she's a Russian.
Yes, she is. I mean, just I felt it needed to be pointed out. Miller and Moulton on this Monday. So I got a question. You're a golfer. Did you pay any attention at all to this celebrity tournament?
Not
out in Tahoe?
Not a bit.
No. Okay.
Never have.
I
guess because I've had a couple of friends who have gone out there, and they're part of the people that make, pay for the celebrities to be there.
Right.
And so once that started happening, I can't pay attention where I might see someone I know at one of these things.
Gotcha. Well, former friend of the show. We haven't had him on in a while, but Derek Lowe was in contention out at that thing. I think he was tied for the lead or shot off it after the first round. But so I'm just going to throw this out there, and you tell me whether or not you find this impressive or what have you. So, the whole field was men except for one woman. The woman was Annika Sorenstam. Now, she's going to be 52 in October. Now, she played from the men's tees. She finished tied for 4th.
Okay.
Finished only 4 points, and, it's a point system, eagles and birdies, positive, bogeys, double, negative, and what have you. She finished 4 points out of the playoff. So, just curious. Does that impress you?
She was playing against celebrities.
Yes, but she's playing against male professional athletes.
I'm a little surprised she didn't win, but that's about where she should finish with that.
Really? You think so? So that didn't, because I thought, playing from the men's tees. I mean, who excels in these things, usually baseball players and hockey players.
Right. She's a great pro.
A legendary one. Yes.
Right.
She is going to be 52 in October. But if I had told you beforehand that, hey, it's the normal run of celebrities, blah, 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 and Annika's playing,
I'd say she's got a really good shot to win.
Okay. All right.
Because some of those celebrities are really, really good players.
Yes, they are. There's no doubt about it. Some of them have attempted to qualify for major championships, have made it all the way to the final round of qualifying. I mean, John Smoltz qualified for the Senior Open 3 years ago.
Right. These guys can all play.
Right.
So, yeah, but at the same time, she was an exceptional, elite,
legendary, maybe
world-class player.
Best ever. Right. Mm-hmm. I just was curious.
That's cool.
But having to play, just guys' tees, and, well, granted, there's a little altitude over there, what have you. But, they're bombing it out there 330, 350. And she doesn't hit it like that. Never was a long hitter.
No.
Even during her heyday. So, just a little factoid there. I was curious your reaction. But, yeah, finished 4 points out of the playoff. T4. There was a 3-way playoff. And she was 4 points out of it. So, just wanted to get your reaction.
No, that's good. But it's about where I think she should finish.
Right. I didn't watch any of it, but I got a text from a friend of mine who said that they showed one highlight of Joe Buck at it, and they referred to him as Joe the Cable Guy.
Pretty good. That's pretty good.
So there you go. One of the things that went on this weekend, I don't want to say it was a slow weekend, but yes, that got plenty of hours of network television time. The American Century Celebrity Classic there. But all-star selections went out for those that care about that sort of thing. I mean, the Rays put more guys on the IL yesterday than they have all-stars in the game. I mean, it's that type of season so far.
Well, that is usually the case, even for, I mean, that's just how the Rays are. They're not built with a lot of all-stars. They're built to win 92 games somehow, some way without them.
The commissioner, and I don't know your thoughts on this, Rob Manfred, on Friday after our show, the commissioner, apparently he negotiated a clause in the new CBA that basically says, yeah, I can just appoint guys to the All-Star game. You know, I'm the commissioner. I can do that sort of thing. And now I will say it had been done 40 and 50 years ago. I mean, I think Hank Aaron and Willie Mays were, I think, placed on their respective. I think Yaz also was placed by commissioner. I think it was Bowie Kuhn at the time. And Yaz was put into his final All-Star game by the commissioner. They put Albert Pujols and Miguel Cabrera in the All-Star game, did Rob Manfred. Pujols has already announced it's his final year. Cabrera, I don't believe, has.
No, he hasn't.
It's the final year of his contract.
Correct.
But I don't believe he's announced that this is his final year, even though it's his 20th year in baseball. But, you know, what do you think? Commissioner just saying, hey, you know, certain players, I got the power.
I actually applaud it. What is this game for, if not for the fans? And to celebrate the best players. Well, these are lifetime career great Hall of Famers that are playing in their last game. These guys are walking into Cooperstown. We all know that. And who the hell else on the Tigers can you put in?
Well, see, that was the thing.
I mean, they should have put him in over did they put in another position player for Detroit?
I'll have to check, because to me, I thought he was going to be their all-star representative anyway, that the commissioner didn't have to. I think he was just trying to do one from each league and that sort of deal. But yeah, if I was the and I think the commissioner was worried if he waits until yesterday and Cabrera's not selected, then, you know, what is he, 3 days later announce, well, I'm putting Cabrera in. So I think he just wanted to get it out of the way.
You know, the NBA, they did something similar to that in 2019 when Dirk and Dwayne Wade made the All-Star.
Yeah. Yeah. And I agree completely with Mark. I mean, it's an all-star game. I mean, give the fans a little, you know, something for the effort here.
And there's nothing but positive thoughts when it comes to Pujols and Cabrera. These are really well-liked guys.
Yeah, first ballot Hall of Famers, obviously. I mean, Pujols is probably not going to get there, but he's damn near going to hit 700 home runs. Cabrera's one of what, 5 in the 3,000 hit, 500 home run club, something like that, or at least 5 who didn't do steroids. So, legendary players. There was some talk that because he has announced it's his final year, Yadier Molina, who got hurt a couple of weeks ago, would be ineligible to play. But that's actually also been done by commissioners before, in which somebody who's injured, but they want him to be honored, want him to take in the all-star festivities and walk out and get the standing ovation and be honored on television and all that.
By the way, Miguel Cabrera is batting .295.
Yeah.
They're all singles.
Oh, yeah, but
yeah. I mean, what's he at, like 3?
Yeah, I mean, but he's
Right.
hitting only singles. So there's
Yeah.
no doubles. He's
No.
basically a home run once in a while in singles. But he's still
Well, and on that team where everybody's hitting below 220, I mean, that's might be the worst offensive team in the league. Yeah. And he was hitting over 300 just a few days ago. So just something to mention there. Commissioner stepping in saying, listen, I'm not Bud here. This game doesn't count. Hey, you two, you're playing LA next week.
Bring your big mouth to John Smith Subs and indulge in their overstuffed subs with the freshest quality ingredients. Enjoy our famous steak bomb with perfectly grilled marinated sirloin steak topped with provolone cheese, grilled onions, peppers, mushrooms, Crispy bacon, juicy tomatoes, and creamy mayo. Boom! Made to order crispy fries can be paired with the Gator, the Cuban, the Chicken Bomb, or the Italian. Love local, eat delicious with John Smith Subs. Find a John Smith Subs location near you today.
David Moulton for Napa, Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa filters for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters. Napa has a filter for almost anything on earth that moves, whether it's motorcycles, foreign and domestic cars, vans, SUVs, earth-moving equipment. You get the idea. Napa Auto Parts, Napa filters. Insist on them for your vehicles, or if you're do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters.
Golfers, are you bored of the same old driving range warm-up routine that's not getting you the results that you want on the course? Power up your golf swing by adding resistance bands to your range sessions with the Orange Whip Golf's Power Strap Kit. Featuring band attachments to your feet and hips, Power Strap resistance training will boost club head speed, increase power, improve flexibility, all with just a few swings. Buy a Power Strap Kit today. Go to orangewhipgolf.com and use code Miller10 to receive an additional 10% off the already great price of $119.
Mark Miller for SWFL Golf Carts, or online, flgolfcarts.com. If you're looking for a golf cart, an e-bike, or an e-motorcycle, go visit Alex and the gang at SWFL Golf Carts. flgolfcarts.com online. Check out their whole inventory. If you're looking for a custom cart, they can take care of you. 2-seater, 4-seater, 6-seater, they've got you covered. E-bikes, nobody better for value and service. E-motorcycles, check them out. Again, flgolfcarts.com. flgolfcarts.com.
You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
– 2009. Miguel Cabrera plays 160 games. That's 324, 103 RBIs, 34 home runs. Doesn't make the All-Star game. Finishes 4th in MVP voting. Maybe this is payback for that.
May have an 838.
Okay.
Was a Canes guy.
Oh,
Did he touch the plate? Yep, sure did.
That was smooth. Replay, one of the best things that happened in baseball.
I agree.
So good. Come back.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network.
22 minutes for the top of the hour. Miller and Moulton, Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. Mark Lai scheduled to join us top of the 8 o'clock hour. It's British Open week after all. Which do you prefer? This could be a poll question, by the way. I don't know if it's generated enough interest, but just curious, which you prefer, British Open or Open Championship?
Like
I like Open Championship.
the real ones know. The Open Championship.
When do you remember it being called Open Championship? Because
3 years ago?
yeah, it is. Okay, thank you.
It's longer than that because you and I have had this discussion before, but it's in the last
10
decade. Yeah.
sometime, because I thought when Phil won it in 2013, I thought it was the British Open when he won it in 2013. So that's sometime obviously between then and now. That's 9 years. I thought it happened then. I mean, I don't think Tiger's ever won the Open Championship, has he? I mean, when he won his 3, it was
It was still the British around these parts.
I mean, when Harrington went back to back, didn't he win back to back British?
Just depends on where you were.
British Open in the news, or at least the RNA is in the news. We'll get to it in a moment. Time now for
The starting 5.
The start.
I'm sorry.
okay. Question: is that us?
Nope.
Or is that them?
Not us.
All right. Well, unbelievable. We're a syndicated show, aren't we?
I guess.
Oh, boy. Djokovic won his 21st Grand Slam and his 7th Wimbledon yesterday. Hit 4th in a row. Hasn't lost there in 5 years. They didn't have the tournament in 2020. Took him 4 sets, and he needed a tiebreak in the 4th. But he beat Nick Kyrgios. Tell you what, kill the music. If it can't work properly, kill it. Novak's unvaccinated. And as of right now, he can't enter the U.S. to play in the U.S. Open. And he couldn't play in the Australian because of a whole vaccine thing. And then got beat in the quarters by Nadal in the French. Nadal expected to be back for the U.S. Open. He is going to miss a month with the abdominal injury that forced him to withdraw before the semifinals. Xander Schauffele, by the way, enters the Open Championship hot. He won the Scottish Open by 1. That's back-to-back wins for Schauffele, who hadn't won in like 2.5 years until he's now gone back-to-back. Feel as if I need to point this out. We have a lot of golf fans that are listening along the I-75 corridor. Once again, no Open Championship on the Golf Channel. Needs to be pointed out that the coverage starts on some combination of Peacock or USA as early as 1:30 in the morning. I mean, by the time we're doing this, they're 5 hours into their coverage.
I know. It is so great.
But
my wife is going to hate me come Thursday because I'm going to get up and turn that television on. What is that on for?
Honey,
What are you talking about?
yeah.
Be surprised I didn't set an alarm at 2 a.m.
All right, here's the deal. 1:30 to 4 a.m. Peacock. So the first 2.5 hours, now it is 1:30 to 4 a.m. I don't know. I mean, if you're up watching, now granted, it's 10:30 to 1 on the West Coast, but I'm just saying it's 1:30 to 4 a.m. Eastern. You got to stream it on Peacock. 4 a.m. to 3 in the afternoon on Thursday and Friday, you go USA Network. So there's no quote unquote network coverage on Thursday and Friday. It's just a Peacock USA thing. And 11 hours of it is on USA. Here's the great thing, though, Mark. 3 p.m, they're done on USA Network, but then they throw it back on Peacock till they call it a day. It's at least an hour, but plus Peacock's all got the whole featured groups and holes, and remember it's St. Andrews, the 17, a couple of famous holes there on the home of golf. The weekend coverage, for what it's worth, will be 5 to 7 a.m. on USA, and then 7 in the morning till 3 in the afternoon on NBC.
All right.
But just a reminder, once again, second major in a row in which NBC, who owns the Golf Channel, has the rights. And there will not be a single golf shot on the Golf Channel. Seems to be a contradiction. I don't know. Or at least an irony. The RNA made some news, however. This is the 150th.
Yes.
Celebration of what used to be the British Open is now the Open Championship. And so they're bringing back all the past champions. In fact, the dinner, Mark, and whole 2-day soiree is called, wait for it, the Celebration of Champions.
Bringing back all the champions, huh?
Except for Greg Norman.
Uh-huh.
Right. The RNA on Saturday officially let him know he is not welcome because of everything that's gone on, which is interesting because he won this championship twice.
Yes, he did.
And one would think, to be serious for a moment, with all the people that are going to be there, that Greg Norman's current involvement in golf is not going to get a ton of attention. I mean, he's going to be in the room with Jack and with Tiger and with past great female champions. Never mind all the champions of this event that are basically alive. I mean, I don't know if Watson's going to be there because he literally got married over the weekend, but he certainly is invited. I mean, Lee Trevino is showing up. Lee Trevino doesn't travel to anything.
I would have invited Norman. I think it's a mistake to not invite him. Why allow Greg Norman to be a martyr in this?
They're playing a 4-hole tournament today, foursomes. And Tiger's foursome includes Lee Trevino, Rory McIlroy, and a former women's British Open champion from a few years ago. And so, Norman, a 2-time champion, uninvited. And they said, maybe down the road, you'll be welcome. It was quite a statement that was released by the RNA. Norman's officially told an Australian news outlet he was disappointed. He didn't think the RNA would be petty.
That's what I find them.
So Trey Mullinax with a birdie on 18 won the Barbasol Championship over Kevin Streelman. Champions Tour, a couple of Wisconsin buddies. Jerry Kelly edged Steve Stricker by 2 to win the Senior Players Championship. And I mentioned last segment, the American Century. Tony Romo won for the 3rd time in a playoff over 3-time champion Mark Mulder and Joe Pavelski. So you figure you got a football player, baseball player, and a hockey player that were all in the playoff. There you go. Annika Sorenstam along with Adam Thielen were tied for 4th, 4 points out of the playoff. And yes, Annika played the men's tees. Major League Baseball, all the all-star bids went out. Yankees got 6 all-stars. Braves and Astros got 5 each. Ohtani selected for the 2nd straight year as both a hitter and a pitcher.
Yes. Yes, he is.
Once again,
what's you going to pay the man?
Here's a blank piece of paper and a pen. How about if you just write down what you think is fair, and we'll start from there.
The man his money.
The Contreras brothers are both starters. Wilson, the Cubs catcher, William, the Braves catcher. First-time brothers have been starters in the All-Star game since the Alomar brothers in 92, 30 years ago. How about that? The Marlins have 2 All-Stars, including the starting second baseman, Jazz Chisholm. By the way, credit Jeter for that. It was the first major deal that Jeter made when he took over the Marlins. He made a straight-up deal. They sent a really good starting pitcher to Arizona for Jazz Chisholm straight up. One team needed position players, the other team needed pitching, and they traded it for each other. It's been a win-win for both teams, but that was Jeter's first major deal in many respects. And of course, Alcantara there, who's might be the best pitcher in baseball this year. Another 7 scoreless innings yesterday. He was selected as well. We don't know if he's a starter yet. That'll come out closer to game time. And speaking of all-star pitchers, Shane Mcclanahan, who grew up in Cape Coral, Florida, first ever USF Bull to make the all-star game. Mcclanahan, the lone Rays representative. And I mentioned it earlier that Rob Manfred, the commissioner, put Miguel Cabrera and Albert Pujols on the team personally on Friday. As for on the field, Marlins beat the Mets in 10 innings 2-0. The Mets loss combined with the Braves win again, 4-3 and 12 over Washington. Atlanta's a game and a half behind the Mets, 2 back in the loss column. They begin a 3-game series tonight in Atlanta. Max Fried against Max Scherzer. Tampa Bay lost 3 in a row to the Reds.
Where are you going to go?
10-5 Cincinnati. Yet Tampa Bay remains ahead of Toronto in the standings. Toronto lost to Seattle 6-5, the 8th straight win for the Mariners. Seattle and Toronto tied for the final playoff spot in the American League. Boston rallied again to beat the Yankees 11-6. Boy, the Yankees lead cut to 14. The Orioles have won 8 in a row. First time in 17 years. They're a game under 500. Hats off to the O's. They beat the Angels again 9-5, who are 11 games below 500, by the way. You sure you can't acquire Mike Trout in a trade? Really? You really think he's happy playing on such a bad team, huh? You sure? Milwaukee lost to Pittsburgh 8-6, and the Cardinals salvaged one against Philadelphia 4-3, so the Brewers leads 2.5. Pujols, by the way, hit his 684th home run in that Cardinals.
And that tied him third with Musial for extra base hits.
Really? You're tied with Stan Musial for anything. That's pretty good. Twins beat the Rangers 6-5. Their lead's 4.5 over the Guardians, who lost to Kansas City 5-1. Cleveland's lost 8 of 10. White Sox beat the Tigers 4-2. The White Sox are 5 back. Houston beat Oakland 6-1. Their lead is 12, but here's the most important thing. The game was in Oakland, a Sunday afternoon. All right, Summer, I'll give you an over-under of 10,000.
I'm going over.
I'm going under.
10,195.
Oh, come on.
Second day in a row, they were just a couple hundred over 10,000. They drew 26,000 and change for the 3-game series against the third best team in baseball. Dodgers sweep the Cubs 11-9. The Padres got shut out by San Francisco 12-0. Just like that. Remember these two teams were like tied 2 weeks ago? Dodgers lead in the West is 8. 8. Colorado 3-2 over Arizona. Quick notes, NBA, Gallinari signs with Boston 2 years, $13 million. He will really upgrade their bench. The Avs decided they're going to let Kemper leave in free agency, and they traded for the Rangers backup Alexander Georgiev and signed him to a 3-year deal for a little over $10 million total. So their starting goalie is going to make less than $3.5 a year. Rays, by the way, put Wander Franco, Kevin Kiermaier, and Jeffrey Springs all on the IL yesterday.
Oh, that's all?
Yeah. Have to call 4 guys up from AAA. And in NASCAR, Chase Elliott from Dawsonville, Georgia, wins in Atlanta. So that's a hometown win. Ross Chastain wrecked Denny Hamlin with 12 laps to go and ended up finishing second. And that's noteworthy, not the second place finish, but the wreck of Denny Hamlin, because, well, that's the second time at least this year that Ross has wrecked Hamlin. Hamlin's going to get payback. And the question is when? Can you wait till the playoffs if you're Hamlin, or do you have to wreck them before the playoffs?
I think you have to wreck him before the playoffs.
He warned them last time.
I got you.
Yep. All right. I mean, if you really want to teach him a lesson, make it hurt. Because clearly Ross did not, and you and I are Chastain fans.
Can you do it really early in a race to send a message? Because, I mean, typically these things are just get them out, in the first stage of a race and your day's over. Just, is that less than enough?
I don't know. Plus, it's so tricky. You want to wreck him and just him, though. you don't want to do it in a way in which he takes out 10 guys behind him. So it's just tricky. It's just like, when and how do you intentionally hit the guy in baseball? Like what you're talking about. First time up, bang. That's it. We're getting this over with.
Right. That's my mentality. Let's just get this
Right.
done. You know it's coming. I know it's coming.
Right.
Why do we have to wait around? Let me
Or-
throw a fastball and hit you right in the hind end.
Or do you know, I got 4 series against this guy. I'll wait for the right spot. Big decision for Hemlin here. Tell you what, though, I'm going to be watching the early part of the next week's race. And that'll do it for the starting 5. 1 hour down. 2 to go for some, 3 to go for the others. Miller and Moulton, right here on the Florida Sports Network.
Bring your big mouth to John Smith Subs and indulge in their overstuffed subs with the freshest quality ingredients. Enjoy our famous steak bomb with perfectly grilled marinated sirloin steak topped with provolone cheese, grilled onions, peppers, mushrooms, crispy bacon, juicy tomatoes, and creamy mayo. Boom! Made-to-order crispy fries can be paired with the Gator, the Cuban, the chicken bomb, or the Italian. Love local. Eat delicious with John Smith Subs. Find a John Smith Subs location near you today.
Golfers, are you bored of the same old driving range warm-up routine that's not getting you the results that you want on the course? Power up your golf swing by adding resistance bands to your range sessions with the Orange Whip Golf's Power Strap Kit. Featuring band attachments to your feet and hips, Power Strap resistance training will boost clubhead speed, increase power, improve flexibility, all with just a few swings. Buy a Power Strap Kit today. Go to orangewhipgolf.com and use code Miller10 to receive an additional 10% off the already great price of $119.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network.
So, David, I think you, as a huge fan of fast food, should go as one of the McDonald Land characters on Bourbon Street after the game. I'm thinking Grimace.
Well, I've got the body type, the big round face. I was always a big fan.
I mean, you're more of a hamburglar by nature, but body type, you're more of a Grimace.
I like it. So you want me to drag this costume into the Ritz-Carlton in New Orleans?
I
Okay.
want you to wear it in the booth, but I don't think that'll go over well. I think if you walked up as Grimace and stood next to Aikman in the booth, I think he'd fire you on the spot. And I don't think Buck would be able to do the broadcast. He'd laugh for 3 straight hours.
Thanks for listening to Miller and Moulton, only on the Florida Sports Network.
David Moulton for Napa, Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa filters for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters. Napa has a filter for almost anything on earth that moves, whether it's motorcycles, foreign and domestic cars, vans, SUVs, earth-moving equipment. You get the idea. Napa Auto Parts, Napa filters. Insist on them for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters.
Golfers, are you bored of the same old driving range warm-up routine that's not getting you the results that you want on the course? Power up your golf swing by adding resistance bands to your range sessions with the Orange Whip Golf's Power Strap Kit. Featuring band attachments to your feet and hips, Power Strap resistance training will boost clubhead speed, increase power, improve flexibility, all with just a few swings. Buy a Power Strap Kit today. Go to orangewhipgolf.com and use code Miller10 to receive an additional 10% off the already great price of $119. You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Did you see where Maverick has now worldwide gone over $1 billion? over $500 million in this country. I think it's his most successful movie at the box office ever. I got a funny topic for you.
Good.
Thoughts on a poll question?
I think it should be, should Greg Norman be invited to the Open Championship Champions Dinner?
Okay. Works for me. Yeah, Arch. May very well. May very well. Canada relief, the other guy to look for, what's Homa? Look how he finished the Scottish Open. Well, Trenton, could they do it now, or are you talking about many, many years ago? Oh,
Greg Norman, a two-time British Open champion, was not invited to the celebration of champions dinner by the RNA. Should Greg have been invited?
Here we go.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network. And now here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
hour number 2 of Miller and Moulton on this Monday. Thanks so much for being with us. Hope you had a great weekend. Thanks for joining us, Miller and Moulton, the Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. 47, 52, or 59 days away from the start of the football season, depending on what game starts the football season for you. 47 days away from Nebraska, Northwestern, in Ireland, because, you know, that's where the college football season should start, across the pond in Dublin. 47 days away from that soiree. 52 days away from the backyard brawl, Pitt and West Virginia, kicking off a 5-day college football extravaganza for week 1. And 59 days away from the Bills in SoFi to face the Rams. And heck, that could be a Super Bowl preview for this year for all we know. I mean, I think the Rams are what? The second betting choice in the NFC, and the Bills are the betting choice in the league this year. So 59 days away from that, 8 weeks from Thursday.
Every time I'm out now and I see somebody with a Bills sticker, a Bills this, I want to start talking to them.
What are you going to say, though?
How you doing? Are you nervous? How good do you feel right now?
Hey, if you start doing some Moulton-like R&D, could you just do me a favor? Could you start with this question? You know, when you and I do interviews, sometimes it's important that you ask the right questions in the right order. When you walk up to your first Bills fan, can the first question be, so you over the Chiefs game yet?
Ooh, it's a great first question. It does bring out angst, though, because as you know, David, sometimes that first question can set the interview down a path
Right.
that you don't want to go.
Yes. It's a
That
risk.
might be a second or third question.
It's a risk. I was just thinking chronologically before we look ahead. All right. The first thing we need to do, especially now in July, I mean, it's almost 6 months to the day. All right. Just, hey, Bills fan, huh? Can I ask you a couple questions?
Really want to ask him why they wrote the book first. I'd like to soften him up, if you know what I mean, David.
Right. It is a great first question to an author.
Yeah, it is.
Why? Because let's be honest, most of these things don't make money.
And they take a ton of work.
Right. You put your soul into it and the whole deal. So why'd you do it? It gets them talking. You know, they think you're interested in what it is they're talking about. It's a nice way to
It's
start.
a great give and take. No, I'm with you.
I agree with you. You're starting with angst. All right. You're starting with a negative. Usually not a good way to start. So you're right. Maybe somehow you work your way back to it. You know, maybe you
Are you over the Chiefs game
but
yet?
at some point, I do think you have to ask a Bills fan. So are you over that one yet? Because I think there are certain players who are not yet over it. Nor should they be, to be honest with you. Miller and Moulton. Do we have a poll question?
We do. And I kind of just jumped. You had a couple ideas there, and I just kind of took it over, right?
Okay.
Because this whole Norman not getting invited to the Celebration of Champions dinner.
Correct. That's what it's called.
He's a two-time champion.
Of their event, too.
Right.
It's not like he won the Masters twice or
No,
the
no.
PGA twice, right?
This is it for him.
Yeah, he's 67 years old. All right. There's clearly he's too old to play in the British because you can only play as a past champion until you're 60, or unless by chance you qualified somehow, some way.
So Greg Norman, a two-time British Open champion, was not invited to the Celebration of Champions dinner by the RNA. Should Greg have been invited? I say yes.
And I will vote yes as well when I get to it, which will be during the commercial break. And clearly he was not invited because right now he's a polarizing figure. And the RNA, when they released their statement, they certainly implied, if not stated matter-of-factly, that, they were worried that he would take away from the event's proceedings. He would be a distraction.
Flat out said it. The 150th Open is an extremely important milestone for golf. We want to ensure that the focus remains on celebrating the championship and its heritage. Unfortunately, we do not believe that would be the case if Greg were here to attend. Wow.
Yeah, and to be honest, with all the golfers that are going to be in the room, I will say this, Phil, who was invited, is not attending. And he's not doing it in support of Greg or to make a statement. I don't believe. I believe he disinvited himself the same way that he disinvited himself from Augusta and the Champions Dinner, which you and I thought he should have gone to.
Absolutely.
Even if he just flew in for the dinner, did the dinner, and left on that Tuesday and didn't play.
And at some point, Phil, you're going to you're just going to keep not showing up to this stuff? What the hell?
Well, I agree. To me, also, yeah, you're one of the 15 greatest golfers of all time, and you are a former Open champion. You've earned this, quite frankly. Yeah, okay, there's some people that aren't crazy about you right now and some of the things you've said and done, but
you don't have to stand next to Rory for the picture.
No, or Tiger for that matter. But you should, you're going to be in town. You're
not doing anything that night.
Right. Come on now. And so today, I believe the dinner's tonight after the 4-hole tournament today. And it's a stroke play event. And, I think they do it by foursomes. I think it's a team golf thing. But
Well,
just
I mean, Norman should be there for that in and of himself.
sure.
So should Mickelson. It's a team event. That's what they're all about.
I mean,
They're growing the game on
I
the
mean-
Live Tour.
right. Pair them together. I mean, you could make an LIV foursome if you wanted. Then this way, none of the cameras can shoot them.
Right.
Because that's the other thing is anybody who's paying attention to golf coverage in the last couple months, I mean, if you're on the LIV series, they are not showing you. Right? There's no, in fact, I am convinced that little 36-hole Ireland Pro-Am that was played Monday, Tuesday of last week before the Scottish Open, there was a point in time in which DJ was in the top 4, and it was aired live, and then it was shown again at night on tape, and they edited out Dustin Johnson's shot and all the audio that went along with it. And they just put in a 15-second blimp shot with no audio, which all of a sudden you're watching the golf. And then there's this 15-second edited shot. No audio, none, no net sound, nothing. Not even the audio from what the announcers were saying during that blimp shot. I just think because what they do is they have all these cameras and they're recording all of the video from those cameras, whether it makes the air or not. And I think they literally said, all right, we got to cover this Dustin Johnson shot. Find 15 seconds of blimp. Yeah, just give me the raw. Yeah, no audio. Just give me the raw. Yeah, we got to edit over DJ. Yeah, we got a call from either NBC or the PGA Tour, the World Tour, whatever. We can't show Dustin Johnson.
Never rooted harder for DJ in my life than I am this week.
Oh, my goodness. I would love for an LIV guy to win the Open Championship.
I don't even care if they win. Just be in the hunt so they have to show them.
Because that's the other thing. I mean, Oosthuizen won at St. Andrews in 2010. He's at the Champions Dinner. Phil's invited to the Champions Dinner. Who else is on the LIV Tour who's won the Open? I'll have to think about it because I know they've got many champions, but like Koepka's never won an Open, even though he's won 4 majors. Sergio's win was the Masters. You know, Graham McDowell's win was the U.S. Open. I'm trying to think of guys who
won the U.S. Open, and
right.
So
they might only have 2
think
former Open champions, Phil and Oosthuizen, but you combine them with Norman, there's 3. Pick somebody else who you don't want to get a whole lot of airtime. Whatever. I mean, throw Daly in, right? They probably don't want to show Daly. They're embarrassed.
But that's our poll question. Norman, 2-time champion, not invited. Should he have been? I say yes.
I say yes.
Don't know why you're letting him be a martyr.
And I think you drew more attention to it.
I totally agree.
Than what he would have received by going. And I would have thought that the media would have been afraid, quite frankly, of the RNA to even bring up the LIV part of his resume. That all they would do if by chance there was a picture of him they would just refer to him as 2-time Open champion.
Well, it's not like the media is going to be at this dinner either.
Well, I mean, the 4-hole tournament,
The 4-hole tournament.
whatever coverage it's going to get. I mean, that's the other thing. It's not like they're going to show him hitting a golf shot. I mean, seriously.
Right.
I mean, they're not. I mean, we all know they're not going to show him. So, yeah, but it does show how much the whole LIV thing is on the minds of the golf world.
We had someone in our Twitch chat room ask if, saying, I think Norman not being invited signals that the Open Championship is going to be the first to act against the LIV players. I don't think they're going to do anything to past champions. If you're eligible to play in the tournament, I don't think they're going to change the rules to ban LIV guys. Now, the World Golf Ranking system will do it.
That's the deal. That if you're in the top 50, you're automatically in the Masters, and I think you're automatically in the others as well. Well, all these guys, there are 8 top 50 players right now playing the LIV series. Their ranking's going down every week because they're not earning any points. They're losing 1 to 2 spots a week. Well, I mean, there's a few of these guys who, quite frankly, like Mark, there's 2 guys who are in the upper 30s of the golf rankings. Like DeChambeau and Reed are in the low 30s, but they're major champions. They'll qualify, and Reed's a Masters champion. So, but there's like Taylor Gooch and one other golfer who's like 38th or 39th in the world. Well, there's a really good chance by the time that February and March comes around, those guys are out of the top 50 because they haven't played anything. That's going to earn them any world golf ranking points after the British here. So, how are you going to stay in the top 50? If 6-7 months are going by, you're not earning any points. Which then begs the question, will the Masters, because they can invite you, you'd be ranked 200th in the world. Masters can invite you to play. But that, to me, is the major to look for. All right. Are they going to invite some LIV golfers who they know are worthy of playing in their tournament? They're good enough, but they've fallen just outside the top 50 because they've stopped earning world golf ranking points.
And I don't think they will. I think they'll stick to their criteria.
So if you're 52nd, oops.
Sorry. And if you're getting the opportunity to play in these majors and you're on the Live Tour, you better play your tail off this week at the British.
Hey, this could be last chance for these guys to earn world golf ranking points until next year's Masters. Miller and Moulton. Thanks for listening. Florida Sports Network.
Golfers, are you bored of the same old driving range warm-up routine that's not getting you the results that you want on the course? Power up your golf swing by adding resistance bands to your range sessions with the Orange Whip Golf's Power Strap Kit. Featuring band attachments to your feet and hips, Power Strap resistance training will boost clubhead speed, increase power, improve flexibility, all with just a few swings. Buy a Power Strap Kit today. Go to orangewhipgolf.com and use code Miller10 to receive an additional 10% off the already great price of $119.
Bring your big mouth to John Smith Subs and indulge in their overstuffed subs with the freshest quality ingredients. Enjoy our famous steak bomb with perfectly grilled marinated sirloin steak topped with provolone cheese, grilled onions, peppers, mushrooms, crispy bacon, juicy tomatoes, and creamy mayo. Boom! Made-to-order crispy fries can be paired with the Gator, the Cuban, the chicken bomb, or the Italian. Love local. Eat delicious with John Smith Subs. Find a John Smith Subs location near you today.
David Moulton for Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa Filters for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa Filters. Napa has a filter for almost anything on earth that moves, whether it's motorcycles, foreign and domestic cars, vans, SUVs, earth-moving equipment. You get the idea. Napa Auto Parts, Napa Filters. Insist on them for your vehicles, or if you're do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa Filters.
Mark Miller for SWFL Golf Carts, or online, flgolfcarts.com. If you're looking for a golf cart, an e-bike, or an e-motorcycle, go visit Alex and the gang at SWFL Golf Carts. flgolfcarts.com online. Check out their whole inventory. If you're looking for a custom cart, they can take care of you. 2-seater, 4-seater, 6-seater, they've got you covered. E-bikes, nobody better for value and service. E-motorcycles, check them out. Again, flgolfcarts.com. flgolfcarts.com. You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Oh, that's nice.
Is it raining?
I'll check.
I don't care that much.
No, it's not right now. I was just out there.
Not according to the phone.
Okay. Oh, Vince McMahon paid 12 million hush money to people, huh?
Apparently paid $3 million per woman.
Okay.
Yeah, unfortunately, we don't get any information about any of the signals that we're on in any of the 4 markets. So we assume everything's working until you tell us that it's not. And then we pass that information along to the particular station's engineers. And usually they tell us, thanks, there's nothing we can do. Oh, okay. So, yep, spread the word on Twitch.
10 seconds.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network.
21 minutes past the hour. Miller and Moulton, Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. Mark Lai in 40 minutes. We'll talk about the Greg Norman disinvite and also look ahead to the Open Championship and where he thinks the LIV Tour is, et cetera, et cetera. Mark's pretty open about things. He's paying attention to what's going on. I probably should have brought this up sooner, this next topic. It's a tweet that I saw Friday night.
Okay.
It is a guy who is a member of the media who's a Seattle Mariners fan. The Mariners at the time were surging. Since he sent this tweet out, they've won 3 more in a row. They've won 8 in a row. They are tied for the final playoff spot in the American League. The Mariners right now have the longest playoff drought of all the North American professional sports teams of the big 4 leagues. The Mariners have not made the playoffs since it's either 2000 or 2001. And so we're talking 20 plus years, just making the playoffs, never mind anything else. So apparently he's involved in a fairly serious relationship. And his name is Joe Fann, Fann. And he said, my girlfriend asked me this last night. Would you rather spend a happy lifetime with me at the cost of the Mariners never winning a World Series? Or you could lose me and they win the World Series this year. He writes, she wasn't thrilled that I hesitated. And I'm currently tweeting this from the doghouse.
New poll questions going up. That's sure you of.
So
a lot of questions for Joe Fan here about how long this relationship's been going on.
Right. Well, let's assume serious relationship. And then he did imply that they've been together a while. This could be the one.
This could be the one.
Could be the one.
Keyword could.
Great. He's in a serious relationship with this woman. And she said, hey, if you.
I mean, are you kidding me? How can you ask this question with a 5-game winning streak?
Well, I don't even know if the current winning streak really matters, but they are starting to play good baseball again. They're a winning team again. At the time she asked it, they were a 500 team, but they were surging.
Now they're a playoff team.
Well, them or the Jays would have a 1-game playoff to decide who's the 6th seed. Yes. And they won, 89 or 90 last year. In fact, Toronto missed the playoffs by a game and Seattle missed it by 2 last year. Toronto would have been the 6th seed last year. The Mariners would have been a game behind them. So it's not that unexpected that these two teams are where they are again this year. But let's push that to the side. So you got to remember the sports fan we're talking about here. He's the fan of a team that, 20 years they haven't made the playoffs, but they've never been to a World Series. Never mind won one. And she asked specifically about the Mariners.
Right.
He said, not the Seahawks, not the Kraken. And I don't know why I went, Sean Connery accent.
It's hard to say Kraken without.
Don't know why I did that.
Really?
But so, there are certain fan bases here. I would guess a Buffalo sports fan would apply between the Bills and or Sabres.
A Cleveland Browns sports fan.
And you could damn near say Cleveland sports fan because the Guardians also haven't won it since 48. So, there's a handful of, fan bases here. You could, if you're a diehard, like she just stuck with baseball. So let's just say we stick with baseball. We could even do it with a Rays fan. Okay. You think you're dating the one. And she goes, okay, a lifetime with me. All right. But the Rays never win the World Series. Or you throw me to the side and the Rays will win the World Series this year.
It's tough for me to apply baseball to this. I want to really hit the Florida sports fan and say, hey, Dolphin.
Well, I mean, you could. They haven't won a playoff game since the final days of the Clinton administration. I mean, haven't been in a conference championship game since the final days of the first Bush presidency. So, we're talking, this is where I wish Felipe was in a serious relationship.
What? How?
Because then we
could
ask
ask this question.
We could ask you the question.
That's why, Felipe. See, we're both married.
Right.
That's where it comes from.
Right. Although
I would be able to ask Felipe a question while he's in a serious relationship.
Probably not.
I think so. I'm with you.
He'll move on to other things, I think. But I mean, I know you said that we don't qualify because we're married. There are a few married people who are listening right now who are in their own heads going, so I get divorced, but so-and-so wins the World Series? I mean, the Mets haven't won in 36 years. Now, I would not throw my wife to the side, okay? But I'll tell you what, when we were dating, the Rangers were trying to win the Stanley Cup. And I thought she might be the one early on. I really did. But we were in our first year of dating. And I loved her. I mean, when the Rangers made that Stanley Cup run, I mean, we had been dating over 6 months. I was in love with her. and I was 28 years old.
But
I'm glad she didn't ask me that question. I got to tell you now, but no, I mean,
you
hesitated. I would have said, listen, I need a couple days here. I'll get back to you. Hesitated. Once again, here was the question. Would you rather spend a happy lifetime with me at the cost of the fill in the blank, but she went baseball, at the cost of the Mariners never winning a World Series, or lose me and they win it this year? Now,
It's the best way to come back from a breakup. I mean, to cope with a breakup, celebrating your team's world championship.
exactly. Right.
the best
Yes. And,
Yeah. no guarantee. See, here's the problem, Felipe. No one said they're going to win a World Series. She just implied the question, and he hesitated.
yeah. Would you rather spend a lifetime with me, a happy lifetime? And she did say happy.
Right.
So, like, in theory, this is the one.
Right.
This is the relationship.
A happy lifetime.
A
Not
happy
a
lifetime with
lifetime.
me, but at the cost of the Mariners. And I'm assuming then that might be his favorite team of the
Right.
teams he roots for, at the cost of them never winning a World Series. Or you can lose me, and hell, they'll win it this year. I mean, she's not saying they'll win it. She actually posed the question by saying, and they'll win it this year.
This year.
I mean, damn. I mean,
She basically packed her own suitcase at that point. Don't let the door hit you in the ass, honey.
I mean, gotta tell you. And I was emotionally fragile in the winter and spring of 94. I got to admit, I was unemployed. I was working in a warehouse. I thought my career was over. And I was falling in love with an amazing woman.
But this is the Rangers.
But the Knicks and the Rangers were going on runs here. I mean, seriously? I mean, come on now. I mean, I love you and all, but, I know what my friends are going to say. Come on, man. You can find another one. Look just like her. Come on.
This is a championship we're talking about
Hey,
here.
this is a cup. This is a parade.
Everybody deserves a parade, right, David?
Damn right, Mark. At least one. Not only a parade, you're going to get it this year.
Miller and Moulton, thanks for listening. Florida Sports Network.
Golfers, are you bored of the same old driving range warm-up routine that's not getting you the results that you want on the course? Power up your golf swing by adding resistance bands to your range sessions with the Orange Whip Golf's Power Strap Kit. Featuring band attachments to your feet and hips, Power Strap resistance training will boost clubhead speed, increase power, improve flexibility, all with just a few swings. Buy a Power Strap Kit today. Go to orangewhipgolf.com and use code Miller10 to receive an additional 10% off the already great price of $119.
Mark Miller for SWFL Golf Carts, or online, flgolfcarts.com. If you're looking for a golf cart, an e-bike, or an e-motorcycle, go visit Alex and the gang at SWFL Golf Carts. flgolfcarts.com online. Check out their whole inventory. If you're looking for a custom cart, they can take care of you. 2-seater, 4-seater, 6-seater, they've got you covered. E-bikes, nobody better for value and service. E-motorcycles, check them out. Again, flgolfcarts.com. flgolfcarts.com.
David Moulton for Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa filters for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters. Napa has a filter for almost anything on earth that moves, whether it's motorcycles, foreign and domestic cars, vans, SUVs, earth-moving equipment. You get the idea. Napa Auto Parts, Napa filters. Insist on them for your vehicles, or if you're do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters.
Bring your big mouth to John Smith Subs and indulge in their overstuffed subs with the freshest quality ingredients. Enjoy our famous steak bomb with perfectly grilled marinated sirloin steak topped with provolone cheese, grilled onions, peppers, mushrooms, crispy bacon, juicy tomatoes, and creamy mayo. Boom! Made-to-order crispy fries can be paired with the Gator, the Cuban, the chicken bomb, or the Italian. Love local. Eat delicious with John Smith Subs. Find a John Smith Subs location near you today. You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
So McEnroe land-based in New York, huh?
Or the U.S.
Or the U.S.
It's preposterous. I mean, if in theory you in theory flies in, you could isolate them, test them for. I mean, if we're trying to do this, if you're really worried still about the spread of it and all that, why don't you bring them in, isolate them for a few days, test them every day for 3-4 days? And if you
Projected to fall to number 7. Fall.
Well, remember, no results from, they go year to year.
Right.
Okay.
He just won Wimbledon.
Right. But he hardly played the first 4 or 5 months of the year. But he doesn't gain any more points by winning Wimbledon because he won Wimbledon last year. I know. It's totally preposterous, though. I mean, don't you put him 1, Nadal 2, Nadal 1, him 2?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, come on. Canada relief, in all seriousness, I don't want to speak on behalf of Mark, although I think the answer is similar. When my wife and I started dating, I was on local television. And trust me, I was a much bigger deal 30 years ago in Binghamton, New York than I ever have been in my 20 plus years in Southwest Florida. So it kind of came with the territory.
And I'm not really in the public eye.
And there's very little downside, when you're this small a person on that public, totem pole. I mean, I got sent some stuff to my house once. I had my back window smashed out once. I've had a few people come up to me when out eating and get in my face, but it's not bad for 35 years.
That's about it, Arch.
Welcome back to Miller and Moulton, only on the Florida Sports Network.
"22 minutes before the top of the hour. Miller and Moulton, Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. A few people listening to the show, particularly in our Twitch chat room. Head's still spinning from that girlfriend question. Would you rather spend a happy lifetime with me at the cost of your, in this case, it was a baseball team, never winning the World Series, or lose me? And hell, I can guarantee you they win the World Series this year. can't believe a woman would ask that question.
I'm hoping they're in their 30s, because to anybody in their 20s, that's a simple answer. Bob, give me the championship.
According to Joe, she wasn't thrilled that I hesitated, and I'm currently tweeting this out from the doghouse.
That's why you shouldn't ask me that question, because
What?
I agree with Mark.
It's the whole, hey, how do I look? I mean, you don't even look. I mean, Felipe, I don't know if you've ever been in this situation. And once again, we don't know how much you listen to the two of us. If you listen to one thing, here's the deal. When they ask you, how do they look? You don't even have to look at them. But yeah, beautiful.
Great. You look great. I like that
Awesome.
outfit a lot. That looks great
Right.
on you.
Yeah.
I can do this all day. She can be 4 rooms over. I don't even see her. You look terrific. You weren't even looking at me. I saw you walk through a minute ago. You look great. My fault for not even saying anything.
You're lying, Mark.
Not at all. You look terrific.
Now, the key is you should look, because you don't want to just spit the answer out without looking, because then they may call you on it. Go, oh, come on, you didn't even look. You're just saying that. And in the back of your mind, you're going, yeah.
Of course I just said it.
Damn right.
There's only one answer here. What
Right.
the hell? You're only asking this for positive
right.
affirmation here.
Right.
You're not
So-
looking for an honest answer. If you're looking for an honest answer, you'd ask a friend.
Right. But okay, we'll play this dog and pony show, sure. So yeah, Felipe, there it is. Awesome, beautiful, fantastic, great, whatever. I would look at them though, make eye contact with them, and then spit it out. That's how you fake the answer perfectly.
He is right. Eye contact's important. It's not necessary.
Most times you can get away without making it, but you just
The one time they'll bust you. And
Yeah.
then you've ruined your whole approach for months. Now you got to build. Now every question has to
Right.
be, well, wait a minute. I
I
think
know.
you look fabulous.
right. Then you may even have
As both
to,
of our wives are texting us right now.
I mean, then you may even have to a few times over the next 6 months, like initiate hey, did you do something different? You look great. Right. So you don't want to have to fake it like that. So fake it the other way. Make eye contact and then just spit out the canned answer. There you go. But it works. It works. There's a very good friend of mine who has been a part of my life since the fall of 1983. And so he was very aware about the state that I was in the late winter, early spring of 1994. And he texted me with as much affection as he could muster during the commercial break and said, well, you were a mess, okay, when you first started dating your wife. So you would have been very vulnerable to the wrong answer.
And then we got this guy who texts the show. That's all we need is this guy. Thank goodness he's not at dinner in we're like 3 couples out and you've got this guy. 1 to 2 Steelers rings for my wife. This sport in the world that would ever make me ponder a championship over her. I'm truly blessed.
Once again, no, sir, respectfully, you're a Steelers fan. You've won so many. The reason that this question has the meat on it that it does is she is asking a guy who's a fan of a team that has never so much as played for the championship. Never mind, she's asking a guy who's a fan of a team that is right now suffering through the longest playoff drought in North American sports. I mean, they've 20 plus years without even playing in a playoff game. I mean, hell, Mike Trout's played in 3. We can do this all day. So that's the fan base that you really need to respectfully, like if he's a Steelers fan, does he know a Browns fan?
Well,
That's the person that you ask and you go, listen.
Are you a Pirates fan too, is what I would ask you.
79.
Right.
Right. Mm-hmm.
But 6-4.
Yeah, exactly. You could go from 6 to 2. I mean, with whatever. But
This one's for the
right. Hey, you want the index finger? Sure. Let me flick that one to you as well. Right. No, we're, the reason it's got a little meat on the bones is you ask a guy who's emotionally fragile, mean, if you're a fan of certain teams, if you're a Bills/Sabres fan, you're emotionally fragile. If you're a Browns/Guardians fan, you're emotionally fragile.
If you're a Dolphin fan, you're emotionally fragile.
Yeah.
You really are.
Yeah.
I mean, we don't have to look that far from home, because the Lions fans damaged. You don't even have to bring up somebody like that. You can't even ask someone like that. They wouldn't even understand the question. But the Dolphin, especially the Dolphin in his 20s or 30s, has had not a lot of positive days, and they've heard all about them from their parents and grandparents, etc.
So that's the fan here. If you're the fan of a team that's won multiple championships.
Right. Texter, first time texter, and thank you for the text. Old Vikings fan. Super Bowl or wife of 20 years with a lot of question marks.
Right. So imagine, okay, now here we go. Now we got to go back to a little over 20 years to when they were dating, and he's pretty sure she's the one. Okay. And I'm wondering I hope this person's still listening. Sir, were you dating your now wife in the 98 season when they went 15-1? All right. Because that's really the perfectly framed question. Also in 2000, the Vikings went to the NFC Championship game as well. But 98 was Moss as a rookie. Randall Cunningham stepping in. They took the league by storm. They hosted the NFC title game, lost in overtime. But that was their year. That was even though the Broncos were the defending Super Bowl champions, there were a lot of people that were like, well, this is the best team in football. Highest scoring offensive team ever that season. You ask him if, say, they're dating in 98 and he's thinking, wow, I'm in love with this woman. I think she could be the one.
Right. Sacrifice the love of his life
and
for a Super Bowl.
Right. And in November that year, she goes, okay, here's the deal. A lifetime of happiness with me.
And I do love this Joe Fan is the person from Seattle. Does he work in our world?
I'll look him up.
But his girlfriend asked him, a lifetime of happiness with me.
Right.
Or the Mariners win the World Series this year.
And remember, they've never gone to the World Series. They've been around since the mid-70s. So, 45 years they've been around. They've never been to the World Series. They've only been to the championship series twice. I mean, it's not a successful franchise here. I mean, think about it. If this question had been pondered over 40 years ago to someone in their mid-20s and they're thinking, oh, well, come on. I mean, they'll win it, right? Come on. I know you're telling me they won't, but come on, they're going to win it. No. It's hard to win in sports.
It's difficult, to say the very least.
By the way, you're in the American League. There's this team called the Yankees.
Right.
They get in the way sometimes.
And when they don't, this Red Sox team's going to start spending money about halfway through this run, so you're going to have two to deal with. Oh, yeah, and the Astros are cheaters. Texter says, one question, do I get to keep the dog? That's funny.
That is funny.
No, as a matter of fact, my answer to that question is no, you don't get the dog, but you get a World Series ring.
See, then it gets tricky because you can't deck out the dog at the parade.
He lives in Vegas, this Joe Fan. That's fan with two N's. All right. He's the host and brand ambassador for WinBet.
Okay.
All right. Host of the Bet to Win podcast, formerly on the Seahawks beat. And yes, that's my real name. All right. In his Twitter bio, Joe Fan, Fann. And he tweeted out on Friday, my girlfriend asked me this last night, quote, would you rather spend a happy lifetime with me at the cost of the Mariners never winning a World Series, or lose me and they win it this year? He's in the doghouse because he hesitated before answering.
And I think hesitation is the very least you're going to get.
I mean, the Vikings have yet to win a Super Bowl. I mean, we're not even going to get into the fact that the Stars They were the North Stars of Minnesota / Wild, have never won the Cup. The Timberwolves have made one conference final in their history, period. They're one of the worst NBA teams in their history.
And the Twins' last World Series is 91.
Right. Hell, they haven't won a playoff series since 2002. Haven't won a playoff series in 20 years.
And it's an area that just loves their teams.
Yes. I mean, you ask a Vikings fan that right now or a Twins fan that right now, you may not like the answer.
Minnesota nice gets thrown right out the
Right.
window.
Right. Okay. Think I'll go to the lakes or the summer. I find another one look just like you. So it's a hell of a question she posed him. I mean, she came off the top rope with that one. I mean, that's honey. Things are going really well here. That's way too serious a question. Well, it's me, right? Yeah, sure.
Sure it is. Sure it is, because let's see. I mean, realistically, we're a wild card, and I don't know how the hell we actually get to a World Series.
No. She's guaranteed. That's the thing, though.
She doesn't have the power.
Well, she has the power to, end the relationship. I mean, she said, a lifetime of happiness with me. But they never win it. Or you could throw me to the side right now and they win it this year. I mean, basically, she must think that he's the one and therefore she's also the one. You don't pose that question if you're just casually dating, do you?
No. In fact, you almost think that this question came from her father or brother.
Right.
Or somebody said, "Well, here, you want to really hit them where it hurts?
Right. You want
to find out where you stand right now.
Right. You think you're getting an engagement ring between now and Christmas? Ask him this question.
And based on the answer, you're either going to get one or you're not." Got a text from a friend of mine, one of the nicer people out there, someone who everybody universally likes. I don't know anybody who dislikes this person.
Okay.
Wife, wonderful person, happily married. They've done very well for themselves.
How long they've been married?
Every bit of 20 years.
Okay.
Probably longer.
All right.
I mean,
so they were dating in the late 90s. Mid to late
and he
90s.
is a diehard Minnesota fan.
There
And
you
text
go.
me 4 words. This conversation really hurts.
Well, this goes back to we were not together.
No.
All right. We were doing shows separately, and Joe Borowski had been released. And I just read his professional resume, and he had 2 great seasons. Was the closer for the Cubs the year they nearly went to the World Series in 2003, and this made an all-star team, the whole deal. And I said, and he was released today, and this looks like this could be the end of his career. And would you trade your life to be Joe Borowski? And the only thing you got to keep were your parents. And so people were like, "Oh, so you mean my wife and kids?" I would go, "Yes." Would you trade it all to be Joe Borowski? And 60% of the listeners that day, 4-hour show, middle of the summer, 60% of the listeners said they'd trade it all to be Joe Borowski. And so here we are, nearly a generation later.
And this isn't even for a pro career. All we're giving you is one.
Well, and not only that, to be Joe Borowski, you're the one achieving it.
Right.
You're pitching in an all-star game. You're making millions of dollars. This is just your fandom. And people happily married for 20 plus years are going, "Oh, man, this is hard. This is a tough choice." That's what they're telling us. Oh, man. I mean, to get a Vikings Super Bowl.
Yeah.
To get a Browns Super Bowl. A Guardians World Series. Oh, Lee. Hey, like you said, a Dolphin.
A Dolphin.
I mean, think about it. They haven't played in the game since Marino in 84. I mean, we're coming up. We're a couple years away from 40 years since they played in one. It is 30 years since they played in a conference championship game. It was the 92 season. You could ask a Dolphin this question.
You're damn right you could.
Miller and Moulton. We'll switch gears. Mark Lai on the other side. Thanks for listening, Florida Sports Network.
Bring your big mouth to John Smith Subs and indulge in their overstuffed subs with the freshest quality ingredients. Enjoy our famous steak bomb with perfectly grilled marinated sirloin steak topped with provolone cheese, grilled onions, peppers, mushrooms, crispy bacon, juicy tomatoes, and creamy mayo. Boom! Made-to-order crispy fries can be paired with the Gator, the Cuban, the chicken bomb, or the Italian. Love local. Eat delicious with John Smith Subs. Find a John Smith Subs location near you today.
Golfers, are you bored of the same old driving range warm-up routine that's not getting you the results that you want on the course? Power up your golf swing by adding resistance bands to your range sessions with the Orange Whip Golf's Power Strap Kit. Featuring band attachments to your feet and hips, Power Strap resistance training will boost club head speed, increase power, improve flexibility, all with just a few swings. Buy a Power Strap Kit today. Go to orangewhipgolf.com and use code Miller10 to receive an additional 10% off the already great price of $119.
David Moulton for Napa, Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa filters for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters. Napa has a filter for almost anything on earth that moves, whether it's motorcycles, foreign and domestic cars, vans, SUVs, earth-moving equipment. You get the idea. Napa Auto Parts, Napa filters. Insist on them for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters.
Mark Miller for SWFL Golf Carts, or online, flgolfcarts.com. If you're looking for a golf cart, an e-bike, or an e-motorcycle, go visit Alex and the gang at SWFL Golf Carts. flgolfcarts.com online. Check out their whole inventory. If you're looking for a custom cart, they can take care of you. 2-seater, 4-seater, 6-seater, they've got you covered. E-bikes, nobody better for value and service. E-motorcycles, check them out. Again, flgolfcarts.com. flgolfcarts.com.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network.
So, David, I think you, as a huge fan of fast food, should go as one of the McDonald Land characters on Bourbon Street after the game. I'm thinking Grimace.
Well, I've got the body type, the big round face. I was always a big fan.
I mean, you're more of a hamburglar by nature, but body type, you're more of a Grimace.
I like it. So you want me to drag this costume into the Ritz-Carlton in New Orleans?
I want you to wear it in the booth, but I don't think that'll go over well. I think if you walked up as Grimace and stood next to Aikman in the booth, I think he'd fire you on the spot, and I don't think Buck would be able to do the broadcast. He'd laugh for 3 straight hours.
Thanks for listening to Miller and Moulton, only on the Florida Sports Network.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Man, I'm telling you, I don't know if there are 9 plays better than this. That's pretty damn good. That's pretty good too.
My mom remembers we were having dinner. It was early in my career. I think it was the first couple months of my career. My mom and I were having dinner in Scranton, and a woman came up to me and told me, hey, you're okay, but you got to shave that mustache. It looks terrible. Right up to us at dinner. My mother still remembers that.
This top 10 here, like play 8 should have been play 10, but these have been terrific plays. This has got to get worse. Ooh.
Pickleball is coming. That's me. I am that person. You have just described my life as a Doll fan.
All right, until we'll probably throw the all-star dunk in here.
Pickleball. All I know is Tom Brady's you-know-what's all over my you-know-what's. Bet you the dunk is number 1.
Jesus. I'm not joking. Like these top 10 plays, there's been one play in which I'm like, I wouldn't have put that there. Yeah, the dunk. You knew it was going to be.
She's an old player too, because like this is her last All-Star game, they said.
But I mean, I don't really care about a woman dunking the basketball. It's cool and all that. But of the other 9, 8 of them were high level. Like the first play is the third baseman. I don't know if you saw any of the highlights from baseball yesterday. It was in the Red Sox game. The third baseman, barehanded play, throws a rocket. I'm like, wow, there's going to be 9 better than that? And I think there was.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network. And now here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
Third and final hour of Miller and Moulton for those of you in Lake City and surrounding areas, Tampa, St. Pete, Port Charlotte, and Venice. Thanks for being with us on this Monday. Miller and Moulton, the Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. Halfway home for those of you listening in Southwest Florida. Mark Lai, kind enough to join us once again, longtime PGA Tour player and broadcaster. You can follow him on Twitter at Let It Fly, spelled like his last name, Flye. Mark, how are you?
Well, I'm really good on a special Monday, the 150th Open Championship, which is just outstanding in this world of golf. And I wish I'd been over there. I've been to Scotland many times, Dave, thanks, but I've never played the old course.
But you did play Turnberry in 77, all right?
Yes.
What was it like?
Totally different golf. It's a ground game and it's not a height game. Now American courses and inland courses have forced carries, very few forced carries at links type golf. And so there are a lot of bumps and grinds around the golf course. A lot of weird things like the old course hotel where you have to kind of cut the corner over, I guess the balconies of the people staying at on the golf course. And it's just different. A lot of times you have to play away from the flagstick, depending on where you are in the fairway or in the rough. You can't play to the flagstick at the 17th hole when it's cut back left around that bunker that guards the left side of the green. And there are double greens there, which means that there's huge areas of grass that are mowed green height that you play going out. That's on the back nine, and then you'll hit the same green coming back. Now, there are different hole locations, of course, but they do mark the flags with different colors just so you know which one you're going at. And it's kind of unique. They have a few double greens in America, but not that many. But this one started it all, and I've heard it's just a beautiful place these days.
When you talk about playing low, and playing the ball low, I get what you're saying. Just how hard is it for these guys to do that? Because the game's so different now, and everything, as you mentioned, is carry, and they hit it so far. What's the learning curve at a tournament like this for guys who have not played a lot of golf over there?
Well, I guarantee you, Mark, that everybody that plays on the tour, any tour, knows how to hit a wind shot. It's just the fact that you'll be hitting wind shots all day long. The wind over here sometimes is protected by trees. That they'll carve a hole out of foliage, and that might be 30, 50 feet high. And so sometimes, even though it's blowing, you don't have to hit a wind shot. But all these guys that have played, come up through college. There's some better wind players than others. But this one guy told me this. Bill Rogers, who won an Open championship. I was talking to his caddy Griff, and I said, "So you guys just won at Hilton Head, and it blew like hell." I said, "What was the secret?" He says, "One thing you have to do in the wind is hit the ball solidly." Okay. So I think this is a ball strikers type of thing. It always has been at the Open Championship. It's basically driving your ball, keeping it out of those pot bunkers, and hitting good wind shots.
Talking the 150th Open Championship with Mark Lai, and also where golf is right now. Your thoughts about the R&A not inviting Norman to the celebration of Champions dinner and the little 4-hole tournament that they're having today. You're not often on Twitter. This riled you up over the weekend.
Well, it really does. I mean, really? He's been their poster child for years. And same with Phil on the PGA Tour. I don't think you can, and it's kind of a way of cancel. If he's not there, we don't have to rile the ugly bear that's invading these tours. But you can't uninvite somebody, I don't think, with any class. This game has always been about gentlemen. It's about making up. It's about, we like to see Patrick Reed shake hands with whoever, made a nasty comment about him the week before. We like to see people shake hands. We like to see them work out their differences. But this whole thing has been ugly. And the personal attacks on Greg Norman. Now, look, you can be a Greg Norman fan and you can hate Greg Norman. That's basically where people are. It's turning into a political forum out here. And it never used to be like that. So I'm seeing all this hate directed at Greg, F Greg, it's basically about, I think 60-40 of all the responses that I've gotten. I think, do you think it's fair? I'm not saying I do side on the player side, because I'm a player, Dave. I've always been a player, even though I announced for 25 years. I've been a pro all that time, and I always side with the players. Well, seeing what they're doing with Greg, and look, his statement is that he's trying to make it better for everybody. Has he? Yeah, he has. The purses are going up because of Greg. Where did the tour just all of a sudden find the money? And look, I'm a proud member, a card-carrying member of the PGA Tour since I was 24 years old. Now I'm in my 60s. I'm proud of the PGA Tour, but I'm not proud of everything they do. And when they're trying to cancel Phil, and they're trying to cancel, Dustin Johnson and everybody else that goes another way, and including Greg Norman, who was a wonderful spokesman for this game. Look, he has an edge to him. There's not an Aussie I know that isn't opinionated, and Greg is one of them. And they just trashed this guy. So I've seen the posters of him winning there when he shot 63 at Turnberry, and I forget where the other Open he won is.
Royal St. George's. He shot an
Royal
epic
St.
64 on Sunday. Some called it one of the best rounds in major golf history.
I don't know how you can find a fairway there. I mean, they're all crowned like, Donald Ross greens. Fred Funk couldn't even hit fairways there. So if Greg can find a way to win there being a long hitter, I mean, more power to him. But look, I just hate the discourse that people are throwing out there. And I know they're really more blatant on Twitter, but I just don't get the hate here. So anyway, I'm upset. It's like, the Masters dinner. What next? They're not going to invite, Patrick Reed because some guys don't like him. I mean, what's the deal with that? It just doesn't make sense to me. You win a golf tournament. You're supposed to be one of the best of all time. You're in the Hall of Fame, and they're not going to invite him to the dinner. come on. So at least Phil Mickelson said, I'm not participating. And I think that was his little rebuttal to a guy like Greg Norman.
Yeah, and I don't understand right now why you'd let Greg. I mean, whatever. If you're the side of the RNA, you're making Greg Norman be the martyr here. Invite him. With all those champions, it seemed very simple. And as you said, reach your hand out and try to fix this. Because, Mark, as you pointed out, the world, they've added 5 more, basically show up and get paid events on the PGA Tour. They raised the purse on a bunch of other events. They're adding
Correct.
more guys getting their cards. They added more money to the Korn Ferry Tour. At some point, and Mark, you don't have the audience you did, and I know you've said it, but the golf media at least going to have to recognize that the Live Tour and Phil Mickelson and the things they've said, everything they've talked about has already been somewhat fixed in very short time, Mark.
Absolutely. I mean, we're not even, we're 2 tournaments into LIV. And do you think that one writer or one announcer is taking that route? Hell no. They don't want to be excommunicated by the PGA Tour or the DP World Tour. But look, guys, there's always been competitive tours out there. There's been the South African Tour. There's been the Asian Tour. There's been the Japanese Tour. And they've never poo-pooed on those guys because they're not a threat. But these guys are a threat. And forget about the blood money argument. Let's forget about that. I mean, there's plenty of blood money to go around everywhere in this world, okay? South America, man, have you heard what's going on down there? I mean, that's a tough place. The PGA Tour has gone to bed with China, with PGA Tour China, but he was without sin cast the first stone. I mean, stop it at least. The Saudis, bad human rights, all this stuff, but at least they're allies, and at least, more than half of the sponsors on the PGA Tour do business there. So you can't have your cake and eat it too. So anyway, it's the LIV is going to take, it's going to be the 5,000-pound elephant in the room, and you just can't help ignore it. So you can't blame the guys for wanting to ask about it. I absolutely love talking about it. I don't think it's taken away. Well, it is taken away from the Open Champ. Here's what it's like, David, Mark. It's like the U.S. Open at Shinnecock when the USGA sets up the course like garbage and they have guys hitting it on the run like Phil Mickelson. Guess what? That's going to be the story. They created it. These guys are creating it by bringing it up as far as the writers, the media, and all this stuff. It's the easy story. It's like Tiger Woods. Every time we go to an event, what about Tiger Woods? Well, he's not even playing this week. Well, what do you think about Tiger Woods? It drives me crazy. So it's the media like us, and I use my in quotations because I'm kind of both. I actually think more like a player than I do a media guy, which is why I only, Dave, lasted 25 years in the media business. I guess I'd still be in it.
That's true. All right.
But you know what I'm saying, guys.
All right. We got 30 or so seconds.
Okay.
Do you think a Homa, a Zalatoris, someone who's played really well but hasn't won yet, can win on this course, this style for their first major? Or do you think it's more likely to come in the States?
I think a Zalatoris could win because he's just a great ball striker, not that good of a putter. Greens over there are much slower. They don't require the deft touch that they do on a typical U.S. Open or Masters type of venue. But Will Zalatoris always won the Masters, not putting that well, just ball striking it to death. I'm just wondering how he can control the golf ball. But yeah, it can happen these days because when these kids come out now, they're prepared. They really are. They can hit the wind shots, and they've been practicing them on those shots for weeks now, getting ready of this 150th Open Championship.
Mark, we love talking to you. We know you're going to do some traveling this summer. Safe travels. Hopefully we can catch up.
Thanks, guys. Enjoy your week.
Mark Lai, longtime player and broadcaster, PGA Tour. The British Open or Open Championship, St. Andrews 150th edition gets underway bright and early on Thursday. Miller and Moulton.
Wish he just would give us an opinion on this show. I hate that he just keeps everything so locked in.
Next time we'll try to pull it out of him here on the Florida Sports Network.
Golfers, Are you bored of the same old driving range warm-up routine that's not getting you the results that you want on the course? Power up your golf swing by adding resistance bands to your range sessions with the Orange Whip Golf's Power Strap Kit. Featuring band attachments to your feet and hips, Power Strap resistance training will boost clubhead speed, increase power, improve flexibility, all with just a few swings. Buy a Power Strap Kit today. Go to orangewhipgolf.com and use code Miller10 to receive an additional 10% off the already great price of $119.
Mark Miller for SWFL Golf Carts or online, flgolfcarts.com. If you're looking for a golf cart, an e-bike, or an e-motorcycle, go visit Alex and the gang at SWFL Golf Carts. flgolfcarts.com online. Check out their whole inventory. If you're looking for a custom cart, they can take care of you. 2-seater, 4-seater, 6-seater, they've got you covered. E-bikes, nobody better for value and service. E-motorcycles, check them out. Again, flgolfcarts.com. flgolfcarts.com.
Bring your big mouth to John Smith Subs and indulge in their overstuffed subs with the freshest quality ingredients. Enjoy our famous steak bomb with perfectly grilled marinated sirloin steak topped with provolone cheese, grilled onions, peppers, mushrooms, crispy bacon, juicy tomatoes, and creamy mayo. Boom! Made-to-order crispy fries can be paired with the Gator, the Cuban, the chicken bomb, or the Italian. Love local. Eat delicious with John Smith Subs. Find a John Smith Subs location near you today.
David Moulton for Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa filters for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters. Napa has a filter for almost anything on earth that moves, whether it's motorcycles, foreign and domestic cars, vans, SUVs, earth-moving equipment. You get the idea. Napa Auto Parts, Napa filters. Insist on them for your vehicles, or if you're do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
I sent it out. It's got the last 10 years of the Opens where everybody finished in an Excel spreadsheet. Makes, with odds on the one side. So it starts with McIlroy and it works just down the odds. I mean, DJ.
You want to save that for Wednesday, like the day before the Open.
Yeah. Oh, wow.
Pickleball, I like the fact that they now essentially can get the golf season over by Labor Day weekend. You can schedule the Tour Championship, the playoffs, all that crap, schedule it for August. Also, in theory, every 4 years, Summer Olympics likely to be in August, or at least after the British. I think the first time they had golf in the Olympics, they had to jam it in between the British and the PGA, because it was like the last year that the PGA was in August. So they can schedule President's Cups. They can get Ryder Cups. Yes, it's a Baylor shirt. You have anything here? Because there was an article written over the weekend about Canes football.
Okay.
Oh, what do you got?
Oh no, but they were told that I've seen this quarterback. I'm trying to find this quarterback executive rankings thing. If we wanted to get into, it's NFL quarterbacks.
Have it?
I'm looking for it.
Broncos country. Let's ride.
What did he say? He was watching like a movie or a TV show, and there was something funny in it, something that references like "I need money," and so he said
Russ?
Lamar, and that's why Lamar over the weekend sent out the new picture of himself with "I need $" like engraved in his gold teeth. Okay, and he sent that out as like that's going to be my new Twitter picture. And then people thought he was making a statement to the Ravens. He came out like yesterday and said, "No, actually, I was watching a movie or a show and I saw this, and so I thought it was funny, and so I sent it out."
Yeah, this is his Twitter header.
Right. I need $, right? Yeah.
Set of grills.
But he claims it was in a show of some kind. And he thought it was funny, and that's why he sent it out.
He's being a little cryptic.
Welcome back to Miller and Moulton, only on the Florida Sports Network.
"21 past the hour. Miller and Moulton, Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. You miss any part of the show, like our fantastic interview a moment ago with Mark Lai, one-time PGA Tour player and broadcaster, talking about not just the Open Championship, but recent developments with LIV and how the golf world's handling it. You can go to floridasportsnetwork.com, download our podcast. It's also where our poll question is. Mark grabbed a hold of the poll question this morning and said, "This is what we're going with." All right. Go for it.
Most people on our side, by the way, should Greg Norman have been invited into the Celebration of Champions dinner by the RNA, they did not invite him because of his association with the Live Tour. 72% of you say he should be invited. 28% do not. Go to that Mark Miller, the David Moulton, FL Sports Network on Twitter or floridasportsnetwork.com.
Listen, there's a lot of websites out there. I mean, the old adage of if you stare at statistics long enough, they'll tell you what it is you want. Well, I mean, you could surf the internet long enough. You can find something to back up your point of view. And one of the sites out there under the SB Nation umbrella is State of the U. Miami Hurricanes.
Okay.
And I may be the only one that found this interesting, but Saturday afternoon, A.R. Weaver, he penned a column. The case for Miami football to be independent again. And he says, listen, no guarantee the Big Ten's, I mean, if Notre Dame doesn't join, he thinks the Big Ten's going to, hang out.
Stay at 16.
Right. And he goes, the ACC is kind of a mess. So how about if we went the independent route? The Notre Dame route. And he made the case. He said, hey, come on now. First 3 national championships, 83, 87, 89. We were independent. then we played in the Big East until 2003. So even championships 4 and 5, not earned in the ACC. And he just talked about, if we went independent, the scheduling possibilities, he goes, could be pretty sexy. And he goes down what would be a 2024 schedule, what's on the books now, and then what's also readily available just from certain schools in certain weeks not having games right now and genuinely looking for games. And he thinks that this would be a way to not just obviously play Florida State every year, but also to play Florida.
Now, that's assuming Florida will play you.
There you go.
And they won't.
Not every year.
They won't.
They already play in the SEC.
This is
and they already
this
play
is
the
damn near
Knuckles.
tonight. I mean, I know you're looking for reasons to get people to click, and you want to wax poetically about all the national championships. Even the $30 million a year, Miami's not going to get that on their own.
Okay. Maybe. I mean, I'm wondering, could they strike a deal with a streaming service or with a network? I mean, there are going to be networks that are going to be left out, most people believe, after the Big Ten announces their deal. Whether it's CBS that's left out, NBC that's left out, or whether or not it's Turner who desperately wants in, who's out.
Okay. But to go after one signal entity and to pay it 30, you'd have to pay. Let's be realistic. If you're going to leave the conference to go this route, you'd have to be getting $50 million a year on your independent deal to make it worthwhile. Who's going to pay $50 million for Miami Hurricanes sports? Unless LifeWallet or NerdWallet, unless Ruiz wants to start his own network to buy the rights, I don't. And as much as I know Miami moves the needle when they're good,
he believes, take non-football sports, rejoin the Big East. He goes, you're going to get, of the 34 to 36 million that you're getting now from the ACC, he goes, you're going to get a third of it, say, from the Big East, a quarter to a third of it. And he believes, he said,
see, I'm just curious. You read the article, and I don't want to stop you.
Right.
A third of the Big East for non-football sports. Does he have anything in there that represents that would be the case? Because that seems a bit high to me, David.
Each Big East school earns $5 million annually in its media rights deal, which is also set to expire in 2025.
Well, he's damn near tripling that.
Okay. And he thinks, yes, that 5 is going to become 10 to 15, especially if they join the Big East, just because of the way rights are going up. And they are. I mean, we all have to acknowledge that rights, because right now live sports is the programming that networks feel they need for survival.
Yes. And I'm waiting to see a little bit of the trickle down where you don't have the money. We've talked about this, David. What's going to be left for the Big 12? When all this money is spent on the Big 10 and the SEC, is there really, and the NBA, and we're now competing with everything out there that, missed out on everything. Let's make sure we overspend for Big East basketball. I'm not sure.
Well, he believes that the streaming services, one of them, for Miami football alone, would give them more money than what they're currently getting from the ACC. And as he points out, you're locked in till the middle of next decade. It ain't going up.
Right. Do you think you are far more observant of television rights deals than I am? I pay attention, but you work in the industry. You have a little more knowledge than I do. Do you think that there's any there to get that kind of money?
I actually believe he's right, that they would get more money going independent for football and Big East for their other sports. I think they would make more than the money that they're making from the ACC. But to me, that's only one half of the equation. Like if we're sitting around and discussing it, you're the AD and I'm advising you. And I just say, Mark, you got to trust me on this. We're going to make more money. And if I get you to finally agree, to me, your response is, okay, that's great, but do I become less relevant? Now, I don't know if you can be any less relevant than being in the ACC going forward. I mean, honestly, if there's only two superpowers and you ain't one of them, then we can debate just how quote unquote relevant you are. The other thing I will say, if you're independent, does that make it easier for you to jump in to another conference down the road?
Well, yeah, because obviously if you're leaving the ACC, you're already going to hit the financial penalty. That'll be gone. Your rights fees, in theory, would be for whatever you're doing independent, not the move after that.
Well, I don't think in his story, okay, I believe he was making the point that financially you don't pay the penalty going
if you go independent.
Right. Okay. He thinks like Maryland negotiated their exit fee. They cut it in half when they left 8-9 years ago. And, he says, hey, they're going to have to pay an exit fee. But if Maryland was leaving to go to the Big Ten and they cut it in half, what if Miami cut their exit fee down to $25 million? So,
yeah. And a lot of ifs there. If I'm the ACC, I wouldn't cut it by a dime because I'm not setting precedent for the other schools. Would you?
No. Or at the very least, I may cut it, but I'd say, by the way, you can't join another conference until our deal in 2034 is up. Just so you know, you're hell bent on this independence. You need to enjoy it for 10 to 12 years. Miller and Moulton. Thanks for listening, Florida Sports Network.
Driving range warm-up routine that's not getting you the results that you want on the course? Power up your golf swing by adding resistance bands to your range sessions with the Orange Whip Golf's Power Strap Kit. Featuring band attachments to your feet and hips, Power Strap resistance training will boost club head speed, increase power, improve flexibility, all with just a few swings. Buy a Power Strap Kit today. Go to orangewhipgolf.com and use code Miller10 to receive an additional 10% off the already great price of $119.
Mark Miller for SWFL Golf Carts or online, flgolfcarts.com. If you're looking for a golf cart, an e-bike, or an e-motorcycle, go visit Alex and the gang at SWFL Golf Carts. flgolfcarts.com online. Check out their whole inventory. If you're looking for a custom cart, they can take care of you. 2-seater, 4-seater, 6-seater, they've got you covered. E-bikes, nobody better for value and service. E-motorcycles, check them out. Again, flgolfcarts.com. flgolfcarts.com.
Bring your big mouth to John Smith Subs and indulge in their overstuffed subs with the freshest quality ingredients. Enjoy our famous steak bomb with perfectly grilled marinated sirloin steak topped with provolone cheese, grilled onions, peppers, mushrooms, crispy bacon, juicy tomatoes, and creamy mayo. Boom! Made-to-order crispy fries can be paired with the Gator, the Cuban, the chicken bomb, or the Italian. Love local. Eat delicious with John Smith Subs. Find a John Smith Subs location near you today.
David Moulton for Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa Filters for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa Filters. Napa has a filter for almost anything on earth that moves, whether it's motorcycles, foreign and domestic cars, vans, SUVs, earth-moving equipment. You get the idea. Napa Auto Parts, Napa Filters. Insist on them for your vehicles, or if you're do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa Filters.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Felipe, are you paying attention to the Canes recruiting?
Yeah. Yeah, I get the notification.
They are apparently crushing it.
Yeah. I think last week they got a 5-star offensive tackle.
So this quarterback ranking has Deshaun Watson 9.
Okay.
It does not have Lamar in the top 10.
Who's 10? Stafford?
Excuse me. Dak, Watson, Russ, Justin Herbert, Stafford, Burrow, Brady, Josh
Mahomes.
Allen, Mahomes, AR.
I counted 11.
Hmm?
My count was off. I counted 11.
Rodgers is 1, Mahomes is 2, Allen is 3, Brady is 4, Burrow
Burrow,
is 5,
5.
Stafford is 6, Herbert is 7, Russ is 8, Deshaun is 9, Dak is 10.
Got it. Yeah, that's one
And
off.
Lamar, Derek Carr, and Kyler Murray are the 3 they have in the honorable mentions. Apparently, Kirk Cousin received votes, but this was league executives, coaches, scouts, and players. 50 of them is who did this. I felt bad for Jake. He's just learning. I mean, he's relearning golf because he quit playing for about 10 years. So had him going pretty good. He pars his last 2 holes on Saturday, and he's hit good shots. Like on the green regulation, good 2-putt, hit a bump and run, almost chipped it in. I'm like, all right. And we finished. I'm like, so he goes out Sunday. It was bad. He was so pissed.
Yep. Welcome.
Yep.
Welcome to the game.
He goes, you know, this is all I'm going to think about for 2 days. I said, well, then you're
There you go.
you're
Wow.
in. Oh, what are the chances LeBron James and Kyrie Irving reunite? Let's discuss. Steve Bannon agrees to testify, huh?
Yeah, I don't know what's.
$15 seconds.
All right. Are you doing this?
News here, yeah.
Thanks for listening. And now, more of Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
"22 minutes till we're out of here in Lake City, Tampa, St. Pete, Port Charlotte, and Venice. Bonus hour for those in the 239 begins at the top of the hour. Miller and Moulton, Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. Pat Kerwin on the show tomorrow. Tom Rinaldi on Wednesday, along with Seth Everett. Tom Rinaldi.
Remind me tomorrow because I'm going to have to bring tissues in. Rinaldi's here. He's going to make me cry.
Don't think so.
He usually does.
I mean, We are going to discuss a serious topic, but it's from over 40 years ago. So I don't know that it will bring you to tears.
Okay, good.
I think it will interest you, though.
Good.
He's put together an episodic podcast about a largely forgotten event in sports history, which I can only imagine if it happened today. But Tom Rinaldi of Fox, and hoping to have maybe more than one segment with him. Kind of like we had Mike Westhoff in last week and did a whole hour. Maybe we can do a couple segments with Tom Rinaldi.
Which, if you missed that, FloridaSportsNetwork.com, you can pick up any part of the show that you missed, Apple and all the other places for the podcast. But really, really nice chat with Mike Westhoff last week that received a lot of positive talk from our listeners after the fact. It is the time of the year, David, where lists are done.
Oh, yeah. This
is list
month.
Rankings and lists. That's what we're going to get a lot of.
Especially for football. I mean, we're killing time till training camps start. Bills rookies report a week from today.
And ESPN has started their rankings where they went out to 50 different folks, players, coaches, leagues, executives, scouts, to get their top 10 lists at every position group.
Can we just go through who the voting members are again?
50 league executives, coaches, scouts, and players.
Okay.
And then I will say, and they put it in here that they basically have their NFL analyst, Matt Bowen, there and other voters to help settle ties. They said with 50 people, you get a lot of ties. We had to settle the ties. And this is not a projection list. This is a now list. So they started with who are the top 10 quarterbacks in the league right now.
Top 10 quarterbacks.
They have Dak at number 10.
Okay. It's about right.
They have Deshaun Watson as number 9.
It's interesting because a year ago at this time, he might have been top 5. And yet now some people may say, well, he hasn't played in a year and who knows when he's going to play again. How can you put him in the list at all?
In fact, the highest ranking he's ever had on this list is 4. Last year, he wasn't ranked at all. And this year, he's 9 out of 10.
They didn't rank him last year.
I think he was already done.
Well, I mean, they had kind of they were going to agree to not play him, but it's interesting to me anyway that they wouldn't have him in the list last year.
Russell Wilson is number 8.
Okay.
Last year, he was ranked number 4, for what it's worth. Justin Herbert is number 7.
Man, how many playoff appearances does he have?
It'd be 0.
He's got the same number as Tua, right?
Yes.
In fact, the Dolphins, I think, have won more games during Tua's 2 years than Herbert and the Chargers have won during theirs. I'm not making the case Tua's better than Herbert. Clearly, Herbert's first 2 years, he's the better quarterback. There is a ton of love, though, for that team and that quarterback. And you could argue that at least in one of the 2 years, they underachieved.
Matt Stafford is number 6.
Okay. Curious what he was last year. Was he even ranked?
He was also number 6 last year.
Wow. I'm impressed they had him that high. You and I have caught a lot of flack over the years when we included him in our top 10 lists.
Joe Burrow is number 5.
I'm guessing Burrow was not in the top 10 last year.
No, he was an honorable mention. They have 3 honorable mentions on this list. But Burrow was number 5. Brady is number 4. He was number 3 a year ago.
Let me get this straight. So he leads the league in passing yards and touchdowns, and he drops one.
He got a year older.
Okay.
Josh Allen is number 3. He was number 5 a year ago.
All right. So that's who they bumped Tom for.
Mahomes is number 2. He was number 1 a year ago, and he has switched places with you-know-who, Aaron Rodgers.
Who apparently got a tattoo.
Yeah, last week.
Yeah, they're crediting his new girlfriend that they think it's her influence on him.
100%. They are absolutely positively right. There is no way I would ever have a tattoo if it wasn't for the girl that I was dating at the time.
So no Lamar Jackson?
That is correct.
Somebody's observant over there. Somebody's paying attention.
Lamar Jackson Derek Carr and Kyler Murray were mentioned in the honorable mention category.
Well, I could see Murray not being top 10. That I could see. Although I will say, worked the Arizona-Dallas game last year in Dallas, and Kyler Murray was the best quarterback on the field. Now, there's lots of other factors that go into it, but that day, Kyler Murray, with the inferior team from an injury standpoint on that given day, Kyler Murray was the better quarterback on the field that day.
All right, just quickly. Kyler Murray or Dak, who would you take right now today for this year?
Dak.
Dak or Lamar, who would you take for this year?
Okay. Just one quick qualifier. Is this on my team that I've presently constructed, or am I putting them on their
Putting
teams?
them on their teams.
Because the Ravens had built their whole system around Lamar. All right. I would take Lamar.
Dak or Derek Carr? I'm just giving you the honorable mention, guys. That's all. He's 10th. I'm asking you if you would replace Dak with any of these guys that are honorable mention.
I would take Derek Carr.
Yeah, give me DC.
Now, I think I'm in the minority, but I would take Derek Carr, especially since guess who Derek Carr has now? He's got Devontae.
Everybody could use a Devontae. Much as everybody wants a Joe Burrow.
I mean, listen,
if you can't get a Joe Burrow.
And who can?
Correct.
And a Devontae would really help.
Remember second, third year Derek Carr when he had Amari Cooper?
Yeah, I would have won the MVP if he stayed healthy.
Yep.
So, and these two were college teammates. So, how about that division, by the way? All right. Because Mahomes is on the list. Herbert's on the list. Wilson's on the list.
Mm-hmm.
And Carr's honorable mention.
Right.
So,
four of the top, in their estimation, 4 of the top 13 quarterbacks in the league are all in the same division.
Now, we don't know if they listed those quarterbacks in alphabetical order or by vote total, but I think Carr was mentioned second. So you could maybe make the case 4 of the top 12 quarterbacks are all in the same division.
Yeah, because they do go Jackson, Carr,
so
Murray.
Probably by votes.
Yeah.
So 4 of the top 12 quarterbacks are all in the AFC West. Imagine being a defense coordinator in that division.
That is fascinating because Aaron Rodgers, obviously the only one in his division. Allen, the only one in his division.
Mm-hmm.
Brady, the only one in his division.
Mm-hmm.
I think, in fact, the rest of them are all going to be that way for the most part, aren't they not?
Well, isn't Stafford the only one in his division?
And Burrow's the only one in his.
Because Murray was honorable mention.
Doesn't Dak have as many playoff wins as Lamar?
Well, I guess, I'm sorry, no, if Burrow and Deshaun.
Well, that's for the North.
Yeah,
yes.
but that's the only other division that's got multiple quarterbacks in it.
Besides the West.
Right.
Right. So in theory, do you just bet the quarterbacks? If you know what I mean.
Yes. I know exactly what you mean.
So you bet Dallas in the East because of Dak. You bet Green Bay in the North, Aaron. You bet Stafford and the Rams, therefore, in the West.
Josh Allen.
Ahead of Murray and the Cardinals
right.
until he and they prove otherwise. Josh Allen with the Bills. And
Brady and the Bucks.
No one in the AFC South, by the way, which shows you how open that division could be and quickly. Because look at what Joe Burrow just did to the AFC North in a year's time.
And I think, to me, the only question, Justin, we're leaving the West alone. I think right now we're going to lean Cincinnati over Cleveland because Deshaun Watson's not even going to play.
Right.
Mean it.
At least half a year.
To me, the one is, do you trust Dak enough over the Eagles right now?
Well, a lot of people, and I'm one of them, may just bet the Eagles because we've got this great stat still going. There has not been a team repeat as NFC East champion since the Eagles won the division 4 years in a row between 01 and 04. I mean, you got nearly, there's a high school seniors, and in their lifetime, a team has not gone back-to-back in the NFC East. Who won the NFC East last year? Dallas. So there are a lot of people that are going to pick the Eagles because you don't pick a repeat champion. Hey, we did this in the NFC South for a long time. That division did worst to first for like a 6-7 year window. So.
And then with Lamar being 11th on this list, if Deshaun we thought was even going to play, that's 3. I mean, 4 in one division, 3 in the other.
But in theory, if Deshaun's not playing, it becomes 2 again because
Right.
he's out. Lamar moves up. But it goes to show you, though, I mean, you could be a pretty good team and finish last. Somebody is going to in the AFC West. But will the AFC West be what we have right now in the AL East in baseball? Because the Blue Jays are 4th. They're tied with Seattle for the final playoff spot. In theory, that division could provide 4 playoff teams. In theory. And do we think that the AFC West is going to be that good where essentially, Mark, all 4 teams win at least 9 games? They're all above 500.
Very difficult to imagine that that's going to happen. Very difficult to imagine it's going to happen. You have to have a lot of 3 and 3s in divisional play to get there.
You know, we were just talking about the Canes and the gentleman who wrote the story about if they went independent for football and could they get their own network deal or streaming deal or what have you. And obviously the NFL has their deals and what have you, but it's a division that's, if Notre Dame can get its own network right now, could the AFC West for the next 3 years get its own little thing?
You'll be doing a lot of AFC West games on Monday Night Football over the course of the next few years, David.
I think all the networks are going to be fighting with each other. It's not going to be the fallback division anymore. Now it's going to be a division that the networks are all fighting over. Give me those games.
Starting a lot of games in the daylight out west on Monday Night Football. That's all I know.
Denver at Seattle, week 1, baby.
So just another list that's out there. 1, do you think Lamar should be in the top 10?
Yes, absolutely I do. First off, he's won an MVP. Secondly, they were the number 1 seed in the AFC when he got hurt last year, and they ended up missing the playoffs and being below 500. I think his value was kind of on display last year. There's no doubt he plays the position differently, and there are times where he throws a pass on 3rd and 6 from the pocket, and we all go, oh, for goodness sakes. You know, and literally for that moment in time, we would much rather have Kirk Cousins. Just, you know, there are 2-3 passes a game in which you go, oh, man. But, oh, yeah. Would you want to defend against Lamar Jackson?
Nope.
I mean, of all the quarterbacks in the league, if you're a defensive coach, how could he not make your top? You really want to defend him?
I'm stunned that Dak's on it and Lamar isn't. That's me personally. I'm not the same Dak guy that you and others are. I don't view him as a top 10 quarterback. I think this is a Dallas Cowboy media bias thing of why he's ranked the way he is. And I think that'll be proven out this year because there's not as many weapons. They've lost some players. That team's not as good this year than they were a year ago.
You think so, huh? All right. Because there are a lot of others that see them as a legit Super Bowl contender.
I do not.
Fair enough. So you're picking the Eagles then?
Oh, 100%.
Oh. And that's just because of rosters, not because of the stat.
It's a little bit of both, but I do think, one, they're not going to have to play division champs, which in the NFC, that's a big deal, David.
Canada Relief just asked in our Twitch chat room very quickly, if you had the list in front of you, how many NFC quarterbacks on it? You got Rodgers, you got Stafford, you got Brady, right? And
You got Dak.
That's 4. So is it 6-4?
Yes.
So 6 in the AFC, 4 in the NFC. And some would argue that the list should be 7-3, that to put Lamar in at the expense of Dak. But then again, if you take Deshaun out, it would be even. So 6-4, the AFC seen as the stronger conference.
One of the lists we will be discussing between now and the start of football season, David. It's inevitable, especially a quarterback list.
I hope we don't do it many more times. You know how I feel about the lists, especially quarterback rankings. I mean, you caught me in a moment of weakness there, Mark. You really did. Lake City, Tampa, St. Pete, Port Charlotte, Venice, thanks for listening. The bonus hour is next. David Moulton for Napa, Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa filters for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters. Napa has a filter for almost anything on earth that moves, whether it's motorcycles, foreign and domestic cars, vans, SUVs, earth-moving equipment. You get the idea. Napa Auto Parts, Napa filters. Insist on them for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters.
Bring your big mouth to John Smith Subs and indulge in their overstuffed subs with the freshest quality ingredients. Enjoy our famous steak bomb with perfectly grilled marinated sirloin steak topped with provolone cheese, grilled onions, peppers, mushrooms, crispy bacon, juicy tomatoes, and creamy mayo. Boom! Made-to-order crispy fries can be paired with the Gator, the Cuban, the chicken bomb, or the Italian. Love local. Eat delicious with John Smith Subs. Find a John Smith Subs location near you today.
Mark Miller for SWFL Golf Carts, or online, flgolfcarts.com. If you're looking for a golf cart, an e-bike, or an e-motorcycle, go visit Alex and the gang at SWFL Golf Carts. flgolfcarts.com online. Check out their whole inventory. If you're looking for a custom cart, they can take care of you. 2-seater, 4-seater, 6-seater, they've got you covered. E-bikes, nobody better for value and service. E-motorcycles, check them out. Again, flgolfcarts.com. flgolfcarts.com.
Golfers, are you bored of the same old driving range warm-up routine that's not getting you the results that you want on the course? Power up your golf swing by adding resistance bands to your range sessions with the Orange Whip Golf's Power Strap Kit. Featuring band attachments to your feet and hips, Power Strap resistance training will boost club head speed, increase power, improve flexibility, all with just a few swings. Buy a Power Strap Kit today. Go to orangewhipgolf.com and use code Miller10 to receive an additional 10% off the already great price of $119.
David Moulton for Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa filters for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters. Napa has a filter for almost anything on earth that moves, whether it's motorcycles, foreign and domestic cars, vans, SUVs, earth-moving equipment. You get the idea. Napa Auto Parts, Napa filters. Insist on them for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters.
Mark Miller for SWFL Golf Carts, or online, flgolfcarts.com. If you're looking for a golf cart, an e-bike, or an e-motorcycle, go visit Alex and the gang at SWFL Golf Carts. flgolfcarts.com online. Check out their whole inventory. If you're looking for a custom cart, they can take care of you. 2-seater, 4-seater, 6-seater, they've got you covered. E-bikes, nobody better for value and service. E-motorcycles, check them out. Again, flgolfcarts.com. flgolfcarts.com.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
So apparently the granddaughter, they said the thing's really working, and she only needs to keep it on another 2 to 3 weeks. So
Was she in a soft spot?
yeah, it was too flat. Apparently
Gotcha.
they needed to like round it somehow. So
So she had that on 24/7?
23 hours. So she gets an hour where bathe her, let it air out, that sort of deal.
Gotcha.
She actually developed a little sore on it because of too much sweat and what have you, so she had to do 2 days with it off.
It's Florida. We run hot.
Yeah. And she runs hot, apparently.
My kind of kid. God, take another picture of me sitting down, honey. I don't look any fatter.
Ten seconds.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network. And now here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
It is the bonus hour, Miller and Moulton, on this Monday. Hope you had a great weekend, and thanks for getting your week off, starting with us. Miller and Moulton, the Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. Good, bad, and ugly. What's on tap? Today was the day when. Final thoughts, all roughly 20 minutes away. Pat Kerwin on the show tomorrow. Tom Rinaldi, Seth Everett, scheduled to join us on Wednesday. Open Championship underway Thursday morning. Coverage beginning on Peacock at 1:30 a.m. Peacock and USA for your Thursday, Friday golf coverage. Majority of it on USA, 4 in the morning till 3 in the afternoon. But no golf on the Golf Channel once again.
But who was it? Was it Duval? It was years ago when golf moved everything to the Golf Channel.
Yeah, NBC did. When they first got the British Open, they used, this was pre-Peacock.
No, I understand, but one of the players is like, why are we putting, actually thought it was a bad idea to move it off of networks like ESPN to the Golf Channel. This is a long time ago.
Okay, yes. This was when the PGA Tour did not renew a deal in any way, shape, or form with ESPN. And all of their Thursday, Friday golf was on the Golf Channel. And Duval was a player at the time. And he said, this seems pretty stupid to me. We're wanting to try to expand our audience, and we're leaving ESPN.
So I just throw that rebuttal back in your face, is that they're on USA, which is a far more well-distributed channel than the Golf Channel. It's in far more homes. And the Peacock thing, we are just going to have to get used to it.
Mm-hmm.
As, younger sports fans probably think this is just like, what are you guys even talking about? But for us older sports fans, we are going to have to get used to hearing streaming only. In fact, late last week, I thought the NFL came out and said that they're going streaming for sure with Direct Ticket.
Yeah, Goodell was asked, and he said, yeah, we're not renewing with DirecTV. We're going to go, in all likelihood, with streaming, and then it was mentioned the 3 finalists, or believes to be the finalists.
So one more year of DirecTV, and for those of us that live in Florida, So it'd be a wonderful thing to have a streaming Sunday ticket, because during September and part of October, you can guarantee your TVs are going to get turned off because of weather, or at least have to watch it in low res. And I mean, my goodness, it's not, why would you even bother to watch if it's not in high def anymore? To think what we had to go through for all those years.
Do you enjoy when you stumble upon an old game or old golf tournament or old tennis match, and obviously it was pre-HD, and so you've got the black borders on the sides and the reduced screen, and of course it's a lot grainier than what you're used to watching, and you suffer through? Do you enjoy that? Never mind the fact that the screen, though, is so much uncluttered. There's no crawl on the bottom. There's no other scores. There's, in all likelihood, there's not, although there is Fox, who took over the NFL in '94, and they put the little bug in the top corner, so you can get an NFL Network showing old games right now. And I flipped over to a couple of them for a few minutes, and you've got the rest of the 90s and into the early 2000s, no HD, and you got the bug.
I don't watch it hardly at all. I will ask you, if you see something worthy, to text me in that exact moment and say, put on NFL Network. If I'm home, I will. Because what ticks me off is a lot of these channels refuse to show anything that's not in HD. Best NFL games ever. Minnesota Wild against the San Jose Sharks from 2015. It's like, come on.
Right. I mean, could you at least give me the 5 overtime Penguins Flyers game?
Give me something, for crying out loud. So I've not watched a lot of non-HD.
Okay.
I have not one that watches a lot of,
I love it,
repetitive sporting events. The only thing that will get me is anytime the NFL Network is showing the season in review of any team from any year. It doesn't matter the team nor the year, particularly when they start doing the previews for next year. Because if you watch those, everybody's going to the playoffs.
Well, yeah. I mean, what are you selling? Hope.
Field, here we go.
Speaking of which, you think there's any debate as to who the quarterback's going to be? I mean, do you think that's an open competition, or do you think once they consummated the deal, Baker was the starter?
I think Baker's the starter.
Now, do you think he's the starter? It doesn't matter, or do you think he's the starter because he's just better?
I think he's better, but I think they'll find that out. I think he's the starter through the first 5-6 weeks of the season, and then if things were to go really south, then I think they could make a change. But I think they are planning on Baker Mayfield being their starter for the entire season.
So we're really going to rule out Cam? No, I'm just kidding.
Well, he was in consideration until this. I think Cam's done.
I think so too.
I don't think anybody signs Cam.
I don't either.
I mean, the shoulder has just never really come back.
Can't throw it anymore.
Right. And
he's older, and he's not as effective as a runner as he once was, so I don't know who would bring him in.
Here's another indication that he may be done. If you were driving around this weekend, flipping around channels for whatever reason, whether it was commercial radio or satellite radio, a popular topic of conversation became, is Cam Newton a Hall of Famer? And that's what, now granted, it's the time of year when you're doing shows, as we know. I mean, sometimes you'll bring up things that you otherwise wouldn't normally bring up. You're trying to kill segments, as they say in the business. But I found it interesting this weekend. I heard it on NFL Network radio. I heard it on commercial radio, on 3-letter and 4-letter networks.
By the way, I think he walks right up, but I don't think he's a Hall of Famer.
I don't either.
I think he might get on a finalist list.
I think he was on his way, though. I think if he hadn't suffered the shoulder injury midway through the 2018 season, I think he was on his way to the Hall of Fame. If you had asked me when they were 6-2, and I don't know if that was a Thursday night or a Monday night, but they were 6-2 at the midway point of the 2018 season. And he had played the 2011. So he had played 7.5 years. If you had asked me that night before the game, is Cam Newton going to the Hall of Fame? I would have bet yes. He had won an MVP. He had taken a team to a Super Bowl. He had taken Carolina to the playoffs 3 other times also.
Yeah, that 2015 Panthers team was nasty.
Yeah, I mean, there's no doubt. But, I mean, one year doesn't get you in the Hall of Fame, though.
Right.
I mean, he took them to the playoffs in 2014, took them again in 2017. And they were 6-2 in 2018. I mean, we're thinking they're going to the playoffs. He gets hurt. They lose 7 of the last 8. He was never the same again.
Never.
Not even close.
Never.
Never.
And
the
he
same
was
guy.
never a great thrower, but then he became someone who was a bad thrower of the football at that point.
Right. But that night, if you had asked me, I would have bet he's going to the Hall of Fame. So that's another reason to tell me I'm a little surprised, and I don't know if they have, and word just hasn't gotten out, or if he hasn't entertained it because he still thinks of himself as a player. But what do you think about Cam in the booth?
I'd have to hear him. I've always loved his interviews. He's got $1 million smile, going to look good on TV. Wears the great clothes. I mean, he would be great in a studio room. Would be great. But can he take the next step and be critical of players and be that good all the time? He's a good interview. I would think he would be good on air. I'd definitely hire him.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
I'd lose on that one. I mean, I'd sit in the room.
Right.
You're going to put your job on the line for Cam Newton? Yeah, as a matter of fact, I am as a studio host. Yes, I am.
You could jokingly say, hell, I did it as a player. Might as well do it again. I will say you were all in. You were absolutely positively all in on him.
From day one.
Yeah. You were midway through hit that year at Auburn. You were just like, absolutely, would turn my franchise over to him.
Had that magic. I always, the smile reminded me of Magic Johnson.
Yep.
He has a great smile.
And I will say, we did a lot of Auburn games that year, and he walked onto a team with over 24 seniors, and 20 of them were fifth-year seniors. And you would think that would be a tough team to walk in and be a leader of. And those guys would have walked off a cliff for him that year. They loved him. And I remember thinking.
And you've never heard players talk badly of Cam.
No. I mean, Steve Smith just said, they got rid of Steve in part because they felt Cam couldn't become the leader of the team with Steve there. That Steve was A, great player, and B, such a strong voice that it's going to be tough for Cam to become the voice on the team, even though he's the quarterback. And 2 years later, I mean, they're in the Super Bowl as the 1 seed, and Cam's the MVP of the league. Don't know if they made the wrong move, even though Steve's a great player and I think a Hall of Fame receiver. And a guy who, by the way, if one of the networks were to hire him and give him a prominent role, I think Steve Smith could be Barkley. Maybe not as funny, but I think Steve Smith could be Charles Barkley on the NFL. Steve is opinionated, and Steve is not.
On everything.
Yeah. I mean, I think he could be Charles Barkley. He'd have to grow into being as funny as Barkley. I think Barkley's just naturally funnier. But
well, yeah, Steve Smith's dead serious. Everything about his approach is serious as a heart attack. It's not lighthearted ever. He would have to learn that.
Well, I know.
And I don't know if it's learned.
I know he's got it off air. All right, the Fox Thursday Night Crew and the NFL Network Thursday Night Crew, we used to stay in the same hotels, and we would post game. We would oftentimes have the same meal, and we spent a lot of time together as last season, wound down. And I know he's got a sense of humor. All right, but you're right. On air, he's very serious. Miller and Moulton. Good, bad, and ugly. What's on tap? Today was the day when. Final thoughts. About 25 minutes away.
Want to text the show? The keyword is FSN Radio. The number is 21,000. 21,000, the keyword FSN Radio, if you've never done so before. Love the people already sending me good, bad, and ugly stories, commenting on different things on the show.
Great.
We take them all times. Love getting texts from the listeners. Always can join us. Twitch.tv/Miller and Moulton, where you can text, well, with us and with everybody else in the room at all times. We thank you for listening to Miller and Moulton. It's the Florida Sports Network.
Golfers, are you bored of the same old driving range warm-up routine that's not getting you the results that you want on the course? Power up your golf swing by adding resistance bands to your range sessions with the Orange Whip Golf's Power Strap Kit. Featuring band attachments to your feet and hips, Power Strap resistance training will boost clubhead speed, increase power, improve flexibility, all with just a few swings. Buy a Power Strap Kit today. Go to orangewhipgolf.com and use code Miller10 to receive an additional 10% off the already great price of $119.
David Moulton for Napa, Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa filters for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters. Napa has a filter for almost anything on earth that moves, whether it's motorcycles, foreign and domestic cars, vans, SUVs, earth-moving equipment. You get the idea. Napa Auto Parts, Napa filters. Insist on them for your vehicles, or if you're do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters.
Bring your big mouth to John Smith Subs and indulge in their overstuffed subs with the freshest quality ingredients. Enjoy our famous steak bomb with perfectly grilled marinated sirloin steak topped with provolone cheese, grilled onions, peppers, mushrooms, crispy bacon, juicy tomatoes, and creamy mayo. Boom! Made-to-order crispy fries can be paired with the Gator, the Cuban, the chicken bomb, or the Italian. Love local. Eat delicious with John Smith Subs. Find a John Smith Subs location near you today.
Mark Miller for SWFL Golf Carts, or online, flgolfcarts.com. If you're looking for a golf cart, an e-bike, or an e-motorcycle, go visit Alex and the gang at SWFL Golf Carts. flgolfcarts.com online. Check out their whole inventory. If you're looking for a custom cart, they can take care of you. 2-seater, 4-seater, 6-seater, they've got you covered. E-bikes, nobody better for value and service. E-motorcycles, check them out. Again, flgolfcarts.com. flgolfcarts.com.
You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Now I just can't stop thinking about how good Cam Newton was.
Can't hear you. What?
Now I just can't stop thinking about how good Cam Newton was.
A lot of people don't like Cam.
Oh, I know. And yeah, he is done. He looks in pain every time he throws a football nowadays.
Mind if I bring up the golf topic here?
I did not know that.
So, which Hall of Fame quarterbacks, or I guess top quarterbacks all time, won a Natty and a Super Bowl?
Which Hall of Fame quarterbacks?
Hall of Fame quarterbacks to win a Natty and a Super Bowl.
Did Staubach win a natty for Navy?
They finished second.
Okay, that's where I was going to start.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network.
"21 minutes past the hour. Miller and Moulton, Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. So they're at St. Andrews, 150th Open Championship. 150th was supposed to be last year at St. Andrews, but the event got postponed in 2020, and the RNA went, well, we can't have the 149th at St. Andrews in 2021, so we'll have the 2020 event in 21, and we'll push. So the rotation, everything got pushed back a year. I bring this up because it's the focus of our poll question. The RNA did not invite Greg Norman to its Celebration of Champions event today, which is a 4-hole tournament, and to its elaborate dinner tonight of basically all the great living champion golfers, male and many female, especially if you won the Women's British Open. But there's a course, Mark, that's been taken out of the rotation, much the same way Greg Norman was taken out of the dinner and events today by the RNA. And it used to always be in the rotation. It's Turnberry. It's owned by Trump.
Right.
And the minute he bought it, the RNA said, I don't know. We're going to find a way not to play the Open here. And the last time the Open was at Turnberry was 2009 when Watson nearly won it at 59. So, it's 13 years now. Now, when you're in the rotation, that's 7, 8 years, usually long. 10 years is considered a long time when you're one of the rotation courses. And the reason I bring this up, because first off, the next 3 are already planned.
Okay.
23, 24, 25.
So now we're at 16.
So, well, yeah, for Turnberry. The thought is that Royal Lytham is getting the event in 2026. Well, they never go more than 5 years without it being at St. Andrews. 6 tops. So the thought is 2027, they'll go St. Andrews. So now we're at 2028 at the earliest. we're going on nearly 20 years here, for one of the historic courses. And in terms of the quality of the course, also clearly one of the 5 best. Trump desperately wants an Open Championship at Turnberry. And it looks as if they are desperate to make sure that he doesn't get one. If you're Trump, do you say, oh, hell, let's play an LIV event here?
Yes. 100%. I'm stunned it hasn't happened yet. But because it certainly seems that the way they're going, that as long as Donald Trump is still living, they're not going to give him an Open. I mean, come on, look, that's what they're doing.
I can't disagree with a single syllable you just uttered. Right.
I mean, let's cut through all the BS. They're basically saying, while this man's alive, we're not going to give him an Open.
Correct.
So,
and you wonder, because in death, I mean, it's Trump Turnberry. He puts his name on everything. So it's Trump Turnberry. In theory, even after death, I mean, it will remain Trump Turnberry, right? So you wonder if they'll even go play Turnberry with his name on it, even if he's no longer with
unless,
us.
However, it works out with the organization that they sell that off after, if they sell some of the golf stuff, you don't know.
So the next 3, by the way, are Liverpool, Troon, and Royal Portrush, which played to rave reviews. It had been forever since they had played an Open in Northern Ireland. And that was the one, I believe, Lowry won, right? The Royal Portrush in 2019, I think it was, 18 or 19. And so they're returned to Royal Portrush pretty quickly. An Irishman winning in Northern Ireland, it went over pretty well. So, the thought is that both Royal Lytham and Muirfield are due, and they're going to work in St. Andrews. So that's pretty much 26, 27, 28. Say Lytham, St. Andrews, because they do it every 5 years, and then Muirfield.
Just a quick sidebar. Shane Lowry is either going to miss the cut or finish in the top 10, because that seems that all he does in this tournament. just for the record, quick sidebar. Go on.
So now we're looking at 2029 at the earliest, which obviously is 7 long years from now, even though they'll announce it sooner. But, I mean, Trump, 2 of his courses are being used as sites in the LIV series. The next LIV event's at Trump Bedminster in Jersey.
And he and Norman are tight. They just didn't invite Norman to this dinner.
Correct.
You need to tie the 2 together, because I think, obviously, Trump's a partner of the LIV Tour.
Well, and also, the Trump Bedminster course hosted a U.S. Women's Open. I think it was 2017, maybe it was 18. And, I was lucky enough to be a part of it with Fogg. It's a tough course. It's a nice course. All right. And it's in a really good golfing region in the Northeast. New Jersey, New York has done a very good job hosting major championships, as has Pennsylvania. Easy for 10, 15 million people to drive to within a 90-minute drive. And Trump Bedminster was going to have this year's PGA. In between the U.S. Women's Open and this year's PGA, the PGA Tour took the Doral event away from him because they didn't like his rhetoric and the wall and immigration, and to really rub a thumb in his eye, they moved the event to Mexico. And then the PGA of America, in the final days of his presidency, took the PGA away from him. And they claim it was because of the events of January 6th. And that's why they were in Tulsa this year. This PGA was supposed to be at Trump Bedminster. So now he made nice, and they made nice with him, and they all released, nice statements. We still respect each other, blah, blah, blah. Right. LIV event in Jersey at a Trump course. Season-ending 4-day event at Trump Doral. I mean, if you're him and you're holding out, I just did the math. I mean, right now, I would say at best 2029, 20 years since they were last at Turnberry, they grit their teeth and they go back.
Yeah. I'll take the bet. I will take the bet that they don't.
Okay, so then if you're advising him, do you say to him, listen, they're just not going to give it to you. You could live to be 100. Ain't going to happen. So you might as well host it in LA. Because
it's not even I think Norman's on the phone with him going, look, if they didn't let me in the dinner, they're not going to let you have the tournament. Let's just do one of these live tour events at Turnberry.
And I mean, I got to admit, now you and I have more interest in this than I think a lot of people. We're fascinated by it. We think it's a great story. As sports talk show host, we into it. But also kind of curious. I mean, a lot of upstart leagues don't last very long, don't seem to be serious contenders. This one obviously has the money to completely dwarf the league that they're going up against. So we're taking it very seriously. Their first event this year was in London at apparently a good course, but it ain't Turnberry. I mean, could you imagine if they're playing an event at Turnberry?
Oh, I think they will be, and I think it'll be in the next 2 years, if not next year.
So just throwing that out there, future sites and the golf world, big picture, taking into account what just took place. I mean, think about it. PGA Tour, PGA of America, R&A have all taken their thumb and put it directly in his eye.
While they're doing it to his buddy. And I don't,
right.
While they're doing it to Norman, and these two are close.
So also, he is close business-wise and politically with Saudi Arabia. His business dealings there, and his very first trip internationally as president was to Saudi Arabia. Would think it's another reason why it would all mix. Miller and Moulton, Florida Sports Network.
Golfers, are you bored of the same old driving range warm-up routine that's not getting you the results that you want on the course? Power up your golf swing by adding resistance bands to your range sessions with the Orange Whip Golf's Power Strap Kit. Featuring band attachments to your feet and hips, Power Strap resistance training will boost club head speed, increase power, improve flexibility, all with just a few swings. Buy a Power Strap Kit today. Go to orangewhipgolf.com and use code Miller10 to receive an additional 10% off the already great price of $119.
David Moulton for Napa, Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa filters for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters. Napa has a filter for almost anything on earth that moves, whether it's motorcycles, foreign and domestic cars, vans, SUVs, earth-moving equipment. You get the idea. Napa Auto Parts, Napa filters. Insist on them for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters.
Mark Miller for SWFL Golf Carts, or online, flgolfcarts.com. If you're looking for a golf cart, an e-bike, or an e-motorcycle, go visit Alex and the gang at SWFL Golf Carts. flgolfcarts.com online. Check out their whole inventory. If you're looking for a custom cart, they can take care of you. 2-seater, 4-seater, 6-seater, they've got you covered. E-bikes, nobody better for value and service. E-motorcycles, check them out. Again, flgolfcarts.com. flgolfcarts.com.
Bring your big mouth to John Smith Subs and indulge in their overstuffed subs with the freshest quality ingredients. Enjoy our famous steak bomb with perfectly grilled marinated sirloin steak topped with provolone cheese, grilled onions, peppers, mushrooms, crispy bacon, juicy tomatoes, and creamy mayo. Boom! Made-to-order crispy fries can be paired with the Gator, the Cuban, the chicken bomb, or the Italian. Love local. Eat delicious with John Smith Subs. Find a John Smith Subs location near you today. You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
So the question was, who won a national championship and a Super Bowl?
Correct. Quarterback.
So Namath, Montana. Do you know the answer, or are you just asking?
I'm just asking. Because
So
if
I
Cam,
wasn't, my Cam won a natty was to the person who said, was comparing Cam as the Michelle Wee of football. And that someone said that Cam, didn't, at least she won a major. I'm like, Cam did win a natty, for crying out loud. That was a Michelle Wee comment, just for the record.
because by the way, Cam wins that Super Bowl, he's a Hall of Famer.
Probably.
Yeah, it'd be real close.
That damn Broncos defense so good.
He didn't play well in that game either.
No, he didn't.
No, he didn't dive on the ball also.
Well, the game was lost before that. But yes.
Super Bowl 50.
Yep.
So LIV in Miami will be at the Trump.
At Doral, yeah. It's a 4-day event too.
Is that the only
It's the only 72-hole tournament on the LIV.
But is it the only Trump-owned course on the LIV?
No, we were just saying.
You were saying,
except
yeah.
Bedminster and Jersey, the next one, and then Trump. Doral. But they played their first ever event in London. And so my thought is, if you're going to have because apparently they're going to go from 8 tournaments to 10 next year. But if they're going to have another one in London, say, or even on the continent there, wouldn't you just go to Turnberry? I would. Well, I can't wait till next week because I think that there are a handful of golfers who are going to jump to the LIV, but they're all waiting until after the British because they don't want the grief. They don't want the media. They answer the questions. They can take next week off and just show up in Jersey and start getting paid. Yeah, Logic Man. How about the Phillies bullpen?
It's time for someone to take back this segment, if for no other reason than to stop David from talking about Meghan and Harry. Here's
Got the sounds back. I might have to just pull the plug on some of all these computers and just plug them back in.
Is that literally what it was?
I hard reset it on the console, and I took 7 years to reboot, but it finally rebooted.
Canada relief, not respected by Kyrie.
I don't know. Weird what's going on in Brooklyn.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network.
22 minutes until the top of the hour. Final moments of Miller and Moulton here on the Florida Sports Network this Monday, the 11th. 47 days away from Northwestern in Nebraska. Kicking off week 0 of the college football season. If you wait until Thursday, September 1st, Pitt, West Virginia, you've got 52 more days to wait until the Backyard Brawl in the beginning of week 1. And 8 weeks Thursday, 59 days away Bills and Rams at SoFi, Thursday Night Football, with Mike Tirico and Chris Collinsworth on NBC, as Tirico takes over for Al Michaels. And then Michaels and Herb Street do Thursday Night Football the following Thursday on Amazon.
I'm looking forward to seeing that combo, just to see how those two work together. I think it'll be good.
I'm looking forward to two things. One, the nooks and crannies part of me. Will Kirk do the game differently than he does a college game? Because Kirk is very gifted, and I mean this. It's not backhanded or tongue-in-cheek or anything. But Kirk sounds great, but he doesn't always talk a ton of football. Kirk can do a game almost like a sports talk show host a lot, especially the college game. An NFL game's a lot more nitty-gritty, usually. You got to show us more football. At least that's how Collinsworth and Aikman do it. Romo shows you football. He talks all over the place, but they show you, football, why something is happening.
And it's faster.
Yes.
Game clock's tighter. Play clock's a little tighter. I mean, all of these things require you as an analyst to work a little more quickly.
The other thing, though, that there's so much no huddle in the college game that they don't show as many replays. It's why that style of broadcast, I think Kirk talked more football 10 years ago. But now that we have so much no huddle also means less replays. Therefore, you're showing less football. So it'll be interesting. Kirk will he'll have less plays, but I actually think he'll have more football that he has to talk about. Less plays, yet far more replays, because there's so little no huddle in the pro game. And then, just how many, I'm curious what the audience is going to be. I mean, they can track it to the viewer.
Well, that's, the most fascinating and riskiest thing in the world that people have to be just freaking out over.
Sure. I mean, it's,
it's a big, much different scale. I get it. But when you folks download our podcast, we know the exact number of people who listen.
Correct.
To the number. Some days you go, that's it.
Right. And Amazon may have that reaction too.
Exactly.
Friday the 16th, they may go, we paying how much money and we had how many people watch? So anyway, those are the magic numbers.
It's time for someone to take back this segment, if for no other reason than to stop David from talking about Meghan and Harry. Here's Mark Miller with Today Was the Day When.
Not a lot today, but a couple of juicy ones. We start in 1804 when Aaron Burr mortally wounds former Secretary of the Treasury Alexander Hamilton in a pistol duel. 1914, Ruth makes his Major League Baseball debut as a pitcher for the Sox and gets a 4-3 win against the Cleveland Naps. They couldn't have gone Naps, huh? They went Guardians. 1922, the Hollywood Bowl opens. 44, FDR announces he's going to run for a fourth term. 1950, in the All-Star game, the National League wins, but the story of the game is that Ted Williams breaks his elbow. It was the first extra inning game in All-Star history. It went 14. That would have been a tie in today's world. 1960, To Kill a Mockingbird is first published. 1967, the Newlywed Game premieres on ABC TV. What's the strangest place you've ever made whoopee?
I was going to say Bob Eubanks.
Yep.
Loved that show. I thought it was the game show equivalent to Benny Hill.
1968, Earl Weaver replaces Hank Bauer as manager of the Orioles and immediately started kicking dirt on someone. 1969, 9 days before Apollo 11 lands on the moon, David Bowie releases his single Space Oddity. 1974, the World Football League plays its first games. Love this one, David. We're going to be in a pregame promo. 34 couples went at home plate, followed by championship wrestling, headlocks, and wedlocks.
Damn.
Would love to know how many divorces out of those 34 couples. I'm guessing 33. Today in 1985, Nolan Ryan becomes the first to strike out 4,000. Would be against your Mets, David.
Danny Heap.
I knew it. I had the name. I know the name. It's written down here for me.
Ricky Henderson was 5,000.
And today in 2013, Orange is the New Black premieres on Netflix. Good show.
Yes.
Those born today that are no longer with us, our sixth president, John Quincy Adams, E.B. White, writer of Charlotte's Web and Stuart Little, actor Yul Brynner, and Leon Spinks. Those that are still with us, Giorgio Armani is 88 years old today. Richie Zambora is 63, as is Suzanne Vega. They both like to write about diners. Rod Strickland is 56, Andy Ashby is 55, and Caroline Wozniacki is a mere 32 years old today. And that, David, is today was the day when.
Every time I think of Richie Sambora, I think of Heather Locklear on Howard Stern's show. She's doing an interview. And Stern asked something to the effect of, hey, there are rumors that you're dating Richie Sambora. And she goes, rumors, huh? And he goes, yeah. And she goes, well, hold on a minute. Why don't you ask him yourself? And she hands Richie the phone. They're in bed together in a hotel room. A few other things happened on this day. Oh, by the way.
What I missed?
To Kill a Mockingbird was published. But today was the famous Aaron Burr, Alexander Hamilton duel, but he dies tomorrow.
Right. Did you not listen to this segment? Because I said those, To Kill a Mockingbird and the damn pistol. It was the very first thing I said.
That was a little in-show humor. Little. I was pulling a Felipe on you.
Uh-huh. That's what it was.
Ooh, wow.
Certainly was a Felipe.
Did you have the one thing I didn't hear though? Did you have Babe Ruth
debut?
Yeah.
Pitch 4-3 against the Cleveland Naps. Why aren't they called the Naps still?
See,
You just took this segment off.
I missed the Ruth part. Okay, I caught the Naps part.
You must have been taking one.
Well played.
Here's another segment that David's not going to pay attention to.
You've heard folks elsewhere mock Florida is gonna Florida. Well, Mark Miller sees it differently. He calls it the good, the bad, and the ugly. What you got, Mark?
And it's Richie Sambora's birthday today. He's 63.
Thank you for that. We go to Fort Myers for the good. Michelle Wilson is no less than a hero. She responded to a call that an infant was not breathing. When she arrived, she found the infant turning blue, not breathing, without a pulse. She took action, did CPR. Baby was brought to the Golisano Children's Hospital, was admitted to the NICU. Now the baby is home and recovering. Awesome. Absolutely awesome. For the we'll stay in Florida and go to Okaloosa County, where on Saturday, Dusty Mobley was charged with grand theft, theft of a vehicle, criminally mischief, and a bunch of other stuff as he tried to outrun county deputies by putting his lawnmower into high gear. The lawn did not last long. He fled deputies once before when trying to steal a boat. This time did so by trying to outrun them on the lawnmower. They found him with a meth pipe. Imagine that. And finally, the ugly, and it's an all-timer. We go to Sebastian, Florida, where Michelle Hoskins has been arrested for tampering with evidence. You see, her mom, Marie, passed away a couple of months ago, and she was living off of mom's checks. So instead of reporting that mom was dead,
oh, sure,
she put mom in the freezer.
Oh, damn.
Woman died of natural causes, was dead for 2 weeks before her body was put in the freezer. She managed to get 2 months worth of checks before she was busted for mom being dead and receiving her disability payments. Good try, Michelle. But you go down. And that is the good, the bad, and the ugly on today July the 11th, 2022.
10 Major League Baseball games tonight. The headliner on FS1, by the way, at 7:20, Mets and Braves. Atlanta just a game and a half back. They were 10.5 back a little over a month ago. They're 2 back in the loss column. First of a 3-game series in Atlanta between the Mets and the Braves. 10.5 back on June 1st. You think they're in first at the All-Star break? Because after this 3-game series, they play the Nats. And the Mets, I think, they got somebody tougher than the Nats.
The Braves will be in first place
At the All-Star break? That's very possible.
definitely by the end of the month.
But I think it's possible they're half a game up at the break. Tied in the loss column, a half a game up. I think it's very possible. Max Fried against Max Scherzer tonight in Atlanta. There's some really good games, though, tonight. Phillies and Cardinals wrap up their 4-game series in St. Louis. Phillies have taken 2 of the first 3. Red Sox and Rays begin a 3-game series at the Trop. Chris Sale makes his season debut tomorrow at the Trop.
Hide the televisions, everybody.
Mcclanahan scheduled to pitch Wednesday for the Rays. And what's interesting about that is they're very unlikely to pitch him on 3 days rest on Sunday, which means he's perfectly set up to pitch when? All-Star Game Tuesday. The Shane Mcclanahan. And oftentimes, Mark, it does come down to which pitchers are pitching when and who can go in the All-Star Game. Does Shane Mcclanahan get the start for the American League in the All-Star Game? It is his day to pitch.
Be surprised if it's not Verlander.
Well, we got to find out when Verlander's days are to schedule. Jim Bowden had a great idea. At least I believe it to be a great idea. He said, listen, the 2 guys in his estimation who should start this game are Mcclanahan in the American League and Alcantara for the Marlins. Okay. But he said, why don't you announce who your pitchers are going to be now? And literally for each inning. Like, let the audience know, all right, that you're going to you're going to start. And he says, start with the 2 young guys. He goes, because the people are going to want to watch who? They're going to want to see Verlander. They're going to want to see Ohtani. Okay. And now in the National League, who are they going to want to see? And off the top, like, I think, did Kershaw make it again? And also, is it possible that Wainwright made it? His thing was, listen,
I actually like it.
And announce your first 3 innings. He goes, now at least you've got an audience for your first hour. And
then the game theoretically should take care of itself after that. And if you're going to continue on with the game, it's because it's competitive or entertaining or whatever the case may be.
And he said,
I'd be miking up everybody, by the way.
And he said, your starters get at least 2 at-bats. So they'll face those 3 guys. All right. And then you've kind of let everybody know this is how it's going to start. And then they can decide at, 9:30 if they want to keep watching or not. I thought it was a great idea.
I think it's a terrific idea.
So anyway, but some good baseball tonight. And let's face it, that's about all you have these days.
No, it's not about all you have. It is all you have.
Well, I don't know.
Until Thursday early morning.
I don't know. Is there some MLS out there? Is there some, I don't know, world friendlies that are being played? I don't know.
David, what I found out about that game is that there are always games being played.
Right.
Whatever cup, whatever series, whatever is going on, they'll find you a game. But as you mentioned, good baseball. I'm not used to it. I'm used to this being All-Star Week.
Right.
And we've got another week of baseball with the Open Championship coming this week and then next week being All-Star Week in baseball.
Right, because this is usually, and they pushed it back a week because the season started a week later. But yeah, normally you got All-Star game into the Open Championship. But we'll see how much Golf Channel coverage, by the way, of today's events. I would like to think it would be widespread. I mean, you got the little 4-hole tournament there. I mean, you got some of the legendary players of the game, male and female. Wouldn't mind seeing Lee Trevino hit a couple shots.
It would be great
Andrews,
to see,
right?
And at least hear from him too, as well.
Right. Gonna mic anybody up, by the way, for a little 4-hole deal. There's an hour.
In fact, you wouldn't need broadcasters if you mic'd up Trevino.
Not at all. Not at all. So, Miller and Moulton. Pat Kerwin on the show tomorrow. Tom Rinaldi, Seth Everett, scheduled to be on the show on Wednesday.
Well, this week's already starting to take shape. Look at that. We're only one show down. We got half the damn week prepared.
I know how bummed you were about having to go a 5-day week this week. I thought, I'm just trying to keep you on board through the week.
Morale is way up right now, David, and we're finishing a Monday show. I should be in great spirits all week with something this good.
Say your spirits were at this high 4 hours ago. Have a great rest of your day. Thanks for starting it off with us, Miller and Moulton, here on the Florida Sports Network. David Moulton for Napa Auto